You are live. Hello, everyone. Hopefully it's going to be quick. Just want to say a few things. Try and clarify why I say what I say and why I interpret the way that I interpret them. So I have conversations, when I do videos. When I say conversations, I mean, hey, pirate, how you doing? No, I don't mean that. I mean, hey, pirate, how you doing? It's good to read you. Yeah, there's a way to know and there's a way to end it. But people talk to me and they say that I'm wrong with what I'm talking about. I'm like, Casper, hello, my friend, how you doing? It's good to be seen. Thank you very much. And heard, pretty much. So, yeah. Kiwi already. Why, hello. How are you, Kiwi? Good to have you here. It's the men today. Normally the women, well, I'm assuming everybody's a man. That's it. It's just an assumption that I make. I don't normally make assumptions, but I know Kiwi's Road is a male. I'm assuming the other two are. But deducing, sorry, not assuming. And people say that I'm wrong. I do videos and people say that I'm wrong. And it doesn't anger me, it doesn't frustrate me, but it does, bring out the exclamation mark in me. You may as well say that Forrest is wrong. Because all I'm doing is repeating what Forrest is saying to the best of my ability and knowledge. And explaining, in most cases, not in all cases, but in most of the cases, it must mean this. It must mean this. It can't mean anything else. It has to mean this. So, hey Richard, how's it going? And Queen, well, you're all in. Very early, very quickly. So some people say I'm wrong. I do the videos and they say I'm wrong in what I'm saying. And one particular instance is, I'm wrong. There are no answers in the poem. What? So I'll repeat it again. Forrest said, all you need is the poem. So that's the original statement. All you need is the poem. So anybody who's researching, that's the wrong thing to do. If all you need is the poem, there has to be answers in the poem. There has to be. They cannot just be clues. There has to be answers in the poem. Because if all you've got is the poem must give you the answer. Because there's no information elsewhere to give you the answer. You can't solve the poem with just the poem if there's no answers. There has to be an answer in the poem. There has to be. There has to be. All you need is the poem. Okay? So I can't research anywhere. I don't need the Thrill of the Chase book. I don't need the internet. I don't need the interviews. I don't need the scrapbooks. I don't need anything. I have this poem. And with this poem, I have to have the answer. Because I have no other information. Because Forrest said I didn't need any other information. So in this little poem that I've got, there has to be answers. There has to be. Because I'm not using anything else. There's nothing else to use. Forrest said I don't need anything else. So anybody who's getting an answer from outside of the poem, that's the wrong thing to do. Not tell me that I'm wrong because I think there's answers in the poem, because Forrest said all you need is the poem. Therefore, how on earth can it be wrong to say that the answers are in the poem and the poem must confirm what it is that you're finding? It must do, because Forrest said you don't need anything else. There is no confirmer outside of the poem that you need, because it's in the poem, if the poem is all you need. So I don't get why people. If Forrest was standing in front of them, they wouldn't turn and say, Forrest, you're wrong. You don't only need the poem, you need the thrill of the chase book, you need the interviews, you need the scrapbooks, you need this, you need that. I don't get it. I don't get why people say it. All is well. Hey Tim, good to have you here. Hi Tim, haven't seen you as of late. Hope all is well. The answers are not what they seem. But the answers must be the answers. And they must be confirmed by the poem. Because all you need is the poem. So no matter what answer you get, no matter what it is, it will be confirmed by the poem. It will give you the answer, confirming the answer that it gives you. And there are a lot of confirmers in the poem, depending on the answer it is that it's giving you. But this is the point I'm trying to get across. If all you need is the poem, then anything else is wrong. Anything else you do is wrong. The poem must. It's a given. It must tell you the answer because Forrest said, all you need is the poem. So therefore, there is no point just needing only the poem if the poem doesn't give the answer. He's told you. The information is in the poem that you need. So get the information out of the poem. He then says, read me what the poem says. And it's game over. The answer must be in the poem. If you read Forrest what the poem says and it's game over, it must be the answer. I don't get why people. I don't get it. I don't get it. Read me what the poem says means just deduction. Read the answer to me, and it's game over. Or at least read what the poem says, and it's game over. It doesn't mean, even though they help, it doesn't mean tell me what scrapbook 157 was about, or scrapbook 212, or what the passage was in the book Thrill of the Chase, or Too Far to Walk, or Once Upon a While, or the interview that I did for Playboy, or whatever. It doesn't say that. So therefore, please listen. I don't think it's difficult. The stuff that I'm saying is not difficult. Here's Forrest Fenn. He makes these statements. And these statements, simple. All you need is the poem. So, if I only have the poem, how will I know if my 9 clues are correct? I know. I'll listen to an interview. I'll read the book The Thrill of the Chase. Too Far to Walk. Once Upon a While. I'll read them. Hang on. All you need is the poem. Maybe I'll read the poem. Now, I'm not trying to fall out with nobody. I'm trying to say, look, here's the information that Forrest gave you. Listen to what he said, and then make a decision based on the information you heard. So I see. Yeah, I've been camping in Idaho for a couple of days. Ooh, back to Wyoming. Good. I hope the weather's not too hot and there is no fires. Apparently, people saying there's fires. And a good map. Yeah, it came after Just a Guy. I'm just saying. Forrest said originally, you only need the poem. Then a good map, Thrill of the Chase, Google Earth as good research materials or whatever. Torch, gloves, sandwich, 6-pack, to celebrate the whatever. Those things came after. But the original statement is you only need the poem, which means you only need the poem. You only need the poem. So if you only need the poem, where are you going to get the answers from? From the Thrill of the Chase? No. Are you going to get it from Once Upon a While? No. Are you going to get it from Too Far to Walk? No. Even though those will help you, which is what Forrest said about, the hints will help you with the clues in the poem from The Thrill of the Chase and Hint of Riches New and Old and all the intimations that he said he would help. You only needed the poem. So therefore, this is what I'm trying to get across. The answer must be in the poem. It must be. It must be. If all you need is the poem, how will you know you're correct? If the poem doesn't tell you, how will you know? You don't need the Thrill of the Chase to tell you you're correct. You don't need Too Far to Walk to tell you correct, Once Upon a While to tell you correct, the interviews to tell you correct, the scrapbooks. You don't need none of those things to tell you correct, because the poem must tell you you're correct. Those things hadn't even happened. In 2010, when this came out, please listen. 2010, when this came out, all you had was the book The Thrill of the Chase. That's all you had. So therefore, everything you needed, please listen, everything you needed was in that book. And somebody touched on it before. God forbid, if Forrest passed away the day after it was released. So everybody researching all this other stuff. I don't get it. I don't get why you don't listen to what Forrest said. All you need is the poem. And the other stuff that came after would help you, but not necessary. And if it's not necessary, and all you need is the poem, and all you have is the poem, then the answers, whatever it is, must be contained in the, must be. There's no if, but, or maybe. It must be in the poem. The answer has to be in the poem. If you're trying to research all of the stuff, everything, every single little bit of detail that came after 2010 when the book was launched, why? Why? If 2010, when it was released, had the poem in it, the book had the poem in it, that was it. That was all you needed. Because you're supposed to be able to solve it with the information that Forrest put out. So therefore, at most, at the very most, if Forrest had not given any of that other information, good map, sandwich, gloves, torch, Google Earth, if Forrest had not given any of that information when the book was launched, the first day, no. So it had to be the Thrill of the Chase book and the poem. Had to be. There's no other way around it. Had to be that. To me, that is, 7-year-old stuff. A 7-year-old would understand if it was released in 2010 and you had to have answers and you had to be able to find it with what was given to you. Here's a book that's going to help you find the treasure. I'm sure a 7-year-old would go, okay, all of the information's here. I'll try and find the treasure with this information. I'm sure they wouldn't go, well, I'll just wait 3 years until Forrest does an interview, or I'll just wait 7 years until another book comes out, or whatever it is. They would get to work on what was given them. Whether they did it or not, I don't know, is another matter, but they would get to work at 2010 with the information they were given. So let's look at it like this. If, answer please, if I said to you, 3, remember it's there in spirit, if I said to you 3, gap, 5, gap, 15, what's the answer? Remember, this is the poem that I've just read you, and you're supposed to get the answer. 3, gap, 5, gap, 15. What's the answer? I have to have given you the answer. I have to have given you the answer. All the information you have now is all you need for the answer. So somebody, please Tell me what the answer is. What have I just said to you? 3, gap, 5, gap, 15. What have I just asked you to tell me? Are the answers actual words in the poem? It depends what you're looking for. That's sneaky. That's a sneaky question. That's a sneaky question. Well, in your imagination, maybe. So it depends what answers you're looking for. The answers for the chest. No, Forrest never wrote it down anywhere, so it can't be actual words that are in the poem. But the poem tells you the words that you're supposed to be looking for. So it's a good question. Nearly caught me out. So are the answers actual words in the poem? Forrest said it was never written down. A word that is key, yes. So there is a key word. There is a word that is key in the poem, but you need all of them. But in your imagination, you can read the words that are needed. So you can read the words that are needed. That are required. So no, and no. No. Are the answers actual words in the poem? Down to the letter S. In 2010, I think he had all 3 books in his mind because they are also... Yes, but we didn't know them. Hey, Ben. Well, this is an exciting Monday Chase stream. It was only done because, somebody's questioning my ability to know what's right and what's wrong and saying that I'm wrong because there are no answers in the poem. It's like, well, if all you have and all you need is the poem, words from Forrest Fenn, then you're saying Forrest is wrong in that statement, and Forrest is not wrong in that statement. So, happy days. That's your code to your school locker. Thank you, Trusted Living. It's there in spirit, the X's. You're given information and you need to find the answer, but you've been given the answer. You know the answer because I gave you the information, which was the answer. The 15 is the answer. All you need to work out is why I said 3, 5, and 15. I gave you the answer. You just had to work out why I gave you the answer. Thank you, Trusted. Good lad. X and equals, yes. So, but X is the important thing, which is there in spirit. You knew it was an X, or times, or multiplication, because I said 3, blank, 5, blank, 15. So what I'm asking you is, what is 3 times 5? I've already given you the answer. I've given you the answer. I'm just asking what 3 times 5 is. Because I've given you the answer. You don't need to work the answer out. You need to work out what the question is. A bit like, why is it that I must go? You need to work out what the question is, not what the answer is. You're trying to work out what the answer is. You've been given the answer. It's in the poem. You had to work out what the question was. Like, who is the real Forrest Fenn? Or why is it that I must go? But thanks for that. And you, Queen, thank you for the X that is there in spirit. Gap. Yeah, it's a close thingamajig. Or could be a nook or a niche or could be anything. But what if it was 3R5L15? What if it was? That would be your solve, not the solve that's supposed to be given. See how it works? I gave you the answer. You had to work out what the question was. Now, you could argue that the answer is 3R5L15, but it's not. School locker, free. 5 left. 15, I don't know what 15 is. Hello, Amy. Well, hello, Amy. Is that a different picture? It's good to have you, Amy. So, no, 3 to the right, 5 to the left, 15. Don't know what 15 is. That's if I'm reading that right. It's a bit similar to Cowlazar's doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picture. What comes next? No, not 6. Reverse. So it's basically the car gears. So if you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you think, well, 6 comes next. But it was R for reverse. Thanks for popping in, Tim. It's always good to read you. Thanks for nipping in and nipping out. Back to camp. So I'm just basically trying to say, please stop saying I'm wrong when you have the information that Forrest gave you, because basically you're saying, Forrest, you're wrong. There are no answers in the poem. Then Forrest is wrong in saying all you need is the poem. There has to be answers in the poem. Has to be. Has to be. It's not, well, maybe there could be or not. There has to be. The answers are in the poem. You're given the answers. You're given them. That's what Forrest did. No subterfuge in sight. There's subterfuge. You just don't see it. So, given the answers, everybody, given the answers, and Forrest said you were, because he said, all you need is the poem. Which means, don't try and work out everything out there. Don't try and work all that out. Decipher the 9 clues in my poem precisely will lead to the end of my rainbow and the treasure. That's it. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. And remember, I'm talking about a chest. That's all you lot are worried about. You're worried about the chest. You're the solver. You found the chest, and blah, 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 blah. And when I say you lot, I know there are people that I call friends that aren't doing that, but there are some friends that still say they found a chest. In spite of all the evidence that says that's impossible. And I don't know how Forrest knew that people would do that, because from where I'm sitting, it's impossible for them to have found it in the way that they say they found it. Impossible. In any alternate reality. No matter how many times you do this, in any other alternate reality with the same rules that Forrest laid down, their answers for finding the chest, impossible. Firstly, 9 clues, 9 locations. Firstly, 9 locations. It's impossible, please listen. It's impossible for there to be 9 locations. Impossible. Impossible. You can argue till the the cows come home, or the blouse get taken off. You can argue till the cows come home, but it's impossible. Solved? Please listen. Don't just listen though. Don't just go, yeah, I heard. Listen. Take it in. Solved. The first 2 clues walk right by the chest. If you walk right by the chest after 2 clues, why the heck are you doing another 7 clues further on? Which takes you away because you walk right by the chest after 2. It's impossible for you to have 9 locations when Forrest said what? And I seem to be like saying too much, but it's like, you're not listening. Absolutely not listening. And I know I'll probably regret this, but if there was only ever going to be one spot, then there's nine clues about one spot. There's 9 clues about one spot. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Why did I go 50,000 miles from where I started to where I finished? There was only ever going to be one spot. 9 clues about one spot. Arrive back where you started, know the place for the first time. It's impossible. I don't get it. 4 years, well, not 4 years, say 2 to 3 years, because when I first started, I was just talking about the words, which were important to understand about a chest. It's impossible. There was only ever going to be one spot, one place that was talked about in the poem. You went off gallivanting to all these other places. Lord knows why. Forrest never said you had to go anywhere. He just explained the situation as it was, is, however you want to look at it. There was only ever going to be one spot. So, impossible for 9 locations when you hear there was only ever going to be one spot. Solve the first 2 clues. You're more than 50% there, metaphorically speaking. More than 50%. How much is that? How much is more than 50%? 100%? 100%. You're 100% there, metaphorically speaking. More than 50. 51, 52, 57, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%. You're 100% there, metaphorically speaking. Solve the first 2 clues, walk right by the chest. If I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. What clue was the home of Brown for you? Remember, solve the first 2 clues, walk right by it. If I told you the home of Brown, you go right to it. Now, I don't understand why people say that I'm wrong. These are the words from Forrest Fenn. They're not mine. There is no thought for me in this. I don't think of these answers. I don't think of these statements. Forrest tells you the answer. There was only ever going to be one spot. There's your answer. Solve the first 2 clues, walk right by the chest. There's another answer. If you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the blaze? There's another answer. If you have Warm Waters Holt, if you have the home of Brown, why are you worried about Warm Waters Holt? There's another answer. Now, if you can't put all those things together, I am beyond, this is incredulous. Like, I don't know of a word, I don't know of a feeling, or however it's got to be explained. I don't understand it. That people don't listen to those statements. How? Please listen. This is beyond believing that you're searchers. It really is. And I am no further forward now with who's who in the zoo than I was before, because, don't trust anyone. But if the home of Brown is your second clue, and solve 2 clues and walk right by the chest, why are you going to 7 more locations? There is not a cell in my brain. There's not one, and I've only got not even a pea brain. There's not a cell in my brain that understands why people, even now, after years of being told no, even now, 2 clues, still insist that their 9 clues is what found the chest. There is nothing in me that can understand that. I can't understand that. Waypoints, directions, and conclusions. Is death the key word? Is death the key word? I don't know what you're trying to say now there. So if I knew you were a Forrest fan, I would answer differently. But there is a word in the poem that is key. That word is not in the poem. in the sense that we know it. So therefore, you'd have to be asking, is deaf the key word, reading it differently? So if you're a Forrest fan, I might answer that differently. But because you're just a guy, then deaf can't be the key word because we're reading the words that are in the poem normally, in the way that you think. You know, nothing is as it seems, so the poem is not what it seems. But I can't answer that. If I knew you were Forrest, I would answer you Forrest. If you're Forrest, but if you're not Forrest, then I have to say, no, deaf can't be the key word. Death, not deaf, because it's not a word that was written by Forrest Fenn. And Forrest said he didn't write it down anywhere. So therefore, the words that are wrote in the poem are not written down as you can imagine them to be. They're written down as the words that you read, as I've gone alone in there. So the word death would not be a word that Forrest wrote down. It would be part of a couple of words, or 3 words, or 4 words, or many words, whatever. Once you look up each word in the poem as a synonym, you will know your key word, in my opinion. Absolutely, Queen. 100%. 100%. Once you look up each word in the poem as a synonym, you will understand. And again, please listen. This is for the chest. You don't need to do anything to the poem. The information that I've shown you is about the chase. The grid and the colours and the balls of string and one foot on top of the other and continuous, contiguous, chronological and shift and drift and adjust, move with confidence, best able to adapt, don't step on a crack. All of those things are about the information in the chase. They're nothing as it seems. So there's a script in the poem, which the thrill of the chase is going through now, and you're reading the script because you know what you need a program so you know what's going on. So this, let's say the poem is the program, not the script. Whichever way it works, you need that information to understand what the chase is and what's happening in the chase. So the chest, finding the chest, resolve, metal and resolve, and a little imagination. So Forrest looked up all the words in the poem, so you have to do the same. And then you have to imagine. So the metal and resolve comes in looking up all the words. And then the little bit of imagination is, well, look at all these words that I've looked up, and nothing is what it seems, so the poem is not what it seems. So what is the poem? And then you imagine the poem to be so. No, oh no, I don't know what I've done. No, Nikki doesn't agree. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. There must equal where if he went alone in there. He isn't coming out. There must equal where, yes. So from there, so as I've gone alone in there, and from there is the same thing. The in there, Forrest went, is the from there, that is no place for the meek. There to die, he's come out. I was thinking something about to die bit. It's gone out of my head. It's gone out of my head. I'll come back to it if it pops back in. He isn't coming out. So there must equal where if he went alone in there to die, he isn't coming out. Yeah, but even if you went alone in there to die, doesn't mean that you died in there. So, you know, you may get bored, 14 years later and then want to come out afterwards. More than halfway or 50% there can tell you which way to, more than halfway or 50% there can tell you which way to start. Like I say, if you are more than 50% there, more than 50% could be 100%. There's no set figure for more than 50%. Forrest didn't give you it's 60% or a 70% or an 80%. He just said more than 50. So more than 50 could be 100%. You're 100% there, metaphorically speaking. That's not a lie. That's an actual deduction of the information that Forrest gives you. If you're more than 50%, how much more than 50% are you? Could you be 100%? Of course you could, because that's more than 50. If you don't think what if, you've got no chance. You have no chance of understanding anything that Forrest said. If you just go, oh yeah, more than 50%, must be 65%, must be 55%, must be 57%. Doesn't have to be anything. It could be. What if it was 100%? What if after the first two clues you're 100% there? Especially when you get, solve the first two clues, it's academic. Especially when you get, the little girl from India can't get closer than the first two clues. Well, she's already there then, so that's 100% there. Once you add all those things together, it's a bit different than going, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. But if you hear what he says and just think, maybe, oh, what's all this? This is a long one. I have felt that Forrest's key word was contentment for me, reverence. What part of that poem did Forrest feel content? And with his last story? Well, I just thought for me, it was like find contentment in the poem, which is where the issue is, where June is, where the bias is, where lost, he who wanders is not lost is. Contentment is connected to warm, connected to comfortable, which is synonyms of warm. What does warm mean to you, Forrest? It means comfortable. What? Hey? What? Why does warm mean comfortable to you, Forrest? Let me go and have a look. Oh, look, warm is a synonym of comfortable. Oh, which is also a synonym of contentment. So therefore, I have a brain and a hand and a foot. Oh, a BFH. Uh-oh. Now trouble's here. Because I'm Five Leaf, that's how I know. Hi, Five Leaf. That's Wilfred, how are you? Oh, you've been retracted. Retracted. I hope you didn't retract hi. It's good to see you. I don't know what you retracted, but hi, it's good to see you. You dealing in body parts for scientific research. Uh-oh. Key word in the poem is gold. Alone or together, can I make it happen the way it's supposed to be? Of course. You know, that always going to be the case. Always going to be the case. I'm playing the hokey pokey. Oh, put your left arm in, your left arm out. It's good to see you, Trusted. We'll read you. He said more than 50% because that is closer to 50 than 100. Possible, but I think if the little girl from India is already there, you're 100% there. You have to be. Two clues, you have to be 100% there. Have to be. There's no thinking about it. If the little girl from India can't get closer, which means she's already there after the two clues, that means 100% you're already there. Already there. Because, drawing on to that, is solve the first two clues, walk right by the chest. And added to that is if I told you the home of Brown, you go right to it. And added to that, etc., etc., etc. They all get added to, it's that place. It's that place. Has to be that place. There is no other place it can be. Has to be that place when you add all the information together. Because, please listen, if you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the blaze? Now, he's made two statements that tell you how important the home of Brown is. One tells you, if you have the home of Brown, why are you worried about Warm Water's Hole? What? Because Warm Water's Hole is my first clue. That's why I'm worried about Warm Water's Hole. And you're telling me the home of Brown is better? Maybe I should move that rule up one. the home of Brown is better than Warm Waters Holt. If you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the Blaze? What? Because that's where the chest is, Forrest. That's what the poem looks like. If you'd been wise and found the Blaze, look quickly down, your quest to cease. So my quest must cease at the Blaze. So I'm really worried about what the Blaze is, because that's when my quest ceases. But if you're telling me that the home of Brown is better than the Blaze, well, maybe I need to move that clue up then. Because the Blaze has to be where the chest is. Has to be. Has to be. It has to be. Remember, there's only one spot. It has to be. There is no ifs, buts, or maybes. It has to be. After you think, what if? It has to be. Why are you worried about? No, if you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the Blaze? Solve the first two clues. Why are you worried about 7 clues later? Why are you worried about 7 clues later if you know the home of Brown? So bring the Blaze where the chest should be. The chest should be where the Blaze is. The chest should be where the Blaze is. And if I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. So what does that tell you? Now, I think it's simple. I really do. I really, really do. And I can't believe that you say that you're searching or that you found the chest or whatever it is when you don't put those things together. Here is the Blaze, where your quest ends. But the Blaze is unimportant compared to the home of Brown. What? But that's where the chest is. Unless the Blaze is at the home of Brown. Unless Warm Waters Holt is at the home of Brown. There was only ever one spot. Oh, why did I think of that? Why did I think there was only ever one spot? Now, I've probably said too much. But in the grand scheme of things, this was not about the chest. It really wasn't about the chest. But how probably 50 people still think that they solved this with 9 clues and 9 different locations, I am astounded. And I find it hard to believe that the real searchers. Because Forrest has given the answer. I've just given the answer earlier, remember, 3, 5, 15. I gave you the answer. I gave you it. All you had to do is work out what the question was. There was only ever going to be one spot. Why did you go to 9? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And Forrest told you what the answer was, because he said, if I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. Is that not the answer? Please listen. Or please answer. Is that not the answer? Of course it is. Has to be. If Forrest Fenn told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. Has Forrest Fenn not just said to you, it's at the home of Brown? Does it not say in the poem, put in below the home of Brown? Not a put in, not a canoe place or a lay-by or whatever. It was put in there. It doesn't say a put in below the home of Brown. It says put in below the home of Brown. So Forrest kept telling you the answer, 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 and you all ignored him and didn't listen and did 9 locations and 9 clues and all sorts of weird stuff that didn't take part in Forrest Fenn's Thrill of the Chase, and you claim to be the solver. And it's beyond believing that you're searchers, because if you're not listening to what Forrest is saying, which is basically you're not going to find the chest where you're looking because you're looking in the wrong place. I don't know. I don't know. 50 would have been slightly inaccurate and would not give the advantage of knowing which direction to start. I have to work on that one. My keyword is not in. My keyword is not in the poem. But the word and in the poem helps more than other words because there is several ands. But the word and is in the poem House more than other words because there are several ends. Mr. Robert McQuaid, how are you? I trust the pirate when it comes to gold. Yes, I trust the pirate when it comes to gold. Hey, Wilfred. Hello, Mario. It's always a pleasure to listen. Thank you very much. Sometimes it's a pleasure to speak, and other times I just think, are these people winding me up? Having the conversation, being told that you're wrong because there are no answers in the poem, only clues, is tantamount to saying Forrest is wrong when he said all you need is a poem. And it's like, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say, Forrest, you're wrong. If Forrest is saying, look, the answers must be in the poem because all you need is the poem, then the answers must be in the poem. If you don't need to get the answers from anywhere else, if you don't need to get the answers from anywhere else, then the answers must be in the poem because that's all you have. That's all that Forrest said you needed. So why are you researching all this other stuff when Forrest says you only need the poem? I don't know. No, but gold is in the title. As I've gone alone in there, wherever you go, there you are. Yes, there I am, gone. The blaze may be a dead end. Absolutely, but then a dead end is Burke or a canopy. So found under a canopy of stars in the lush forest of vegetation. Part of that is Burke. So a dead end may be a Burke. And I don't know. There may be a dead end involved, but I'm not sure it's the blaze is a dead end. It's all there. It is all there. It is all there. There or where. It's not the answer. It's not the answer. Begin it. Begin it where warm waters hold. So it's not the answer. I don't want to give too much out. The question is the answer. The question is the answer. The question. Mary just explained comically why Dave would have never, ever, ever, ever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. Forrest said, "Don't trust anyone, not even me." Not me, him. I mean, you don't have to trust me. I'm not bothered if you trust me or not. But seeing all the people in the poem, seeing all the answers, solves, wondering who these people were, trying to work out, having information who Forrest Fenn was, but like, what has that got to do with the chest, etc., etc., etc.? It's like, well, who can you tell this information to? Who is the real person behind it? And even knowing the real person behind it, that didn't help. That didn't help. So, no. Okay, then you just wait. Let's just wait, see what happens. How sure someone is obviously does not matter. It takes facts. Well, the facts must be in the poem. Anything derived from outside of the poem cannot be considered to be the answer. Can't. There is no confirmer. You only have your interpretation of the information that you brought to the thrill of the chase. That's all you have. Your own interpretation of what you brought to the thrill of the chase. On the other hand, if you have the poem and the answers are in the poem and there are confirmers to the answer in the poem, then that's all you need. Because that's what Forrest said you needed. You only need the poem. And again, I'll just state again, if the first day of 2010 you had to be able to solve it, then that's all you needed. The Thrill of the Chase book and the poem that was in the Thrill of the Chase book. Not even the flashlight, not even the sandwich, not even gloves, not even Google Earth and a map and a good map. Those things didn't come till later. So you only had the book. And therefore that is definitely all you needed. All you needed. Even though Forrest said you only needed the poem, you had the book as well. Anything else came afterwards. And that is not conducive. That is not applicable. Anything else is not applicable to being able to solve the Thrill of the Chase poem. Because you didn't have it. You didn't have it the first day. You bought the book on the first day that it came out to solve the treasure hunt. Then all you needed was that book that you had on the first day. It had to be solvable with the information that you had, which was the Thrill of the Chase book. Anything else is irrelevant. Even though it will help you, it's not needed. It's not needed. It can't be needed. Otherwise, Forrest would have given you everything on the first day. All the information, all the scrapbooks, the other two books, everything else. He would give it all on the first day. So seriously, please listen. All you needed was that book on the first day up until when it was found in 2020. You only ever needed the Thrill of the Chase book because the poem is in the Thrill of the Chase book, and therefore the clues are in the book because the poem is in the book. People can argue that all they want, but the poem is in the book, so therefore there are clues in the book. You can argue all you want, but the clues are in the book because they're in the poem, and the poem is in the book. So the clues have to be there. Excuse me. Why are there 5 words in the title, The Thrill of the Chase? Why are there 5 words in the title, The Thrill of the Chase? TTOTC, TOTC. Are those tots in your pocket? No, they are Thrill of the whatever that is. More than one title, one for the book and one for the poem. Then throw in others for indulgence, Tarzan chasing a vagabond. Oh, I didn't know about chasing a vagabond. That reminds me of JFK, the Three Vagabonds. Well, I thought in, my pea brain that it was called Where the Treasure Lies, the poem. And then Indulgence, well, Tarzan, then Indulgence. Was it? Tarzan first, then Indulgence? Excuse me, but why change it? Was Forrest trying to say something? If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But what I'm trying to say is what Forrest has said. These are not my thoughts. They're not my words. They are simple deductions from the facts that we've been given. Now, if the fact is, and it's a fact, I'm not trying to make something out of nothing or try and pretend that I'm smart or not doing that. If Forrest Fenn started this in 2010 and you were supposed to solve it, then you had to solve it with TTOTC on the first day it came out. You had nothing else, just that. None of the extras. You need a good map, you need a torch, you need gloves. None of that. You had a book, it had a poem in it that should give you the answers. Now, there are clues in the book and there are hints in the book, but the clues in the book are the clues that are in the poem, and the hints in the book are the clues that are in the poem. There are hints in the book that will help with the clues in the poem. So therefore, there must be something in the poem that's also in the book. Must be. The hints in the book will help you with the clues in the poem. So, is it possible to find words in the book that are also in the poem? Of course it is. And do those help you Well, for me, they do. Dave Woodard, only the book and the poem from day one. No other books, including Conway. Yes. But like I say, it's worse than that because there was only ever going to be one spot. The 9 different locations don't make sense. Solved it. The little girl from India couldn't get any closer than the second clue. But solved it after the second clue because they walked right past the chest. So it had to be solved at the second clue. That was the last time it could be solved, the last point, possibly. Solve the first 2 clues, walk right by the chest. So anybody who has a clue 3 that takes you further away from the location you are, nope, not you. It's not you. It can't be. This is just simple logic, deep thinking logic, whatever you want to call it. It's very simple. Solve the first 2 clues, walk right by the chest. It's impossible. Please listen. It doesn't matter what your solve is. It really doesn't matter what your solve. If you have the right solve, please listen. If you have the right solve, and after the first 2 clues, you walk right by the chest, guess what? You ain't going to find the chest where you're looking because you walk past it after the second clue or after the first clue or whatever clue it is, because those 2 clues walk right by the chest. Forrest didn't stipulate it was the first clue or the second clue. He just said solve first 2 clues and walk right by the chest. He didn't say walk right by the chest after clue 1. He didn't say walk right by the chest after clue 2. He said solve the first 2 clues and walk right by the chest. So he could have walked right by the chest after clue 1. He didn't stipulate that it was after clue 2 that they walked right by the chest. He just said they solved the first 2 and walked right by the chest. And he said they showed him pictures, which means it's real. It's a real place. You can't have pictures of a spiritual awareness or a thought or a dream or whatever. You don't have pictures, not yet anyway. You don't have pictures of those. So whoever sent Forrest the pictures sent him pictures of a real, physical, there it is place. You have to go to that place. That place exists. And people went there and took pictures of it and walked right by the chest. 2 clues. 2 clues, walk right by it. Unless your solve says clue 1, clue 2, clue 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 takes you back to clue 1 or 2. No. And know the place for the first time. No. Impossible. And it's only supposed to be difficult. It's another thing that Forrest said. It's only supposed to be difficult, not impossible. So those people with impossible solves, and they all become impossible because there's more than one solver, you can't have 50 people solving a poem for one spot and they all be correct. That's impossible. Please listen. So if the poem is supposed to give you the answer, then basically you tell everybody what the poem says, and that's the answer. That's the answer. It's confirmed by the poem. That's the answer. You don't need to work anything out. Get the post-it note. There you go. That's the answer. And that's why that's the answer. That's it. Not half an hour explaining, this is for the chest, remember? Not half an hour explaining everything. That's the answer. That's why it's the answer. Symbol looks up the symbols. I don't understand. The tripped over a grave marker. I can't remember how he worded it now, but he came face to face with the grave marker. Did he say he tripped over a grave marker or tripped over an aluminium, blah, blah, blah? I can't remember what he said. He says, I don't normally fall. But he came face to face, nose to face. I can't remember how he said it now. Does, I'm going to get shot down for this, I am. Does understanding the thrill of the chase make it important if all you need is the poem? Even though you cannot, I mean, there are pictures in there that are a map. There are pictures in there that are part of a map. I'm not kidding you. And, the pages are part of the map. But you don't need any information from the book to help you find a chest. You really don't. You need to understand why Forrest looked up all the words. You need to think, what if? A little bit of imagination, metal and resolve. Everything that Forrest said, that's what you need. Everything that he said. In Once Upon a While, Forrest, blind from his pole, is going to the small star. In reality, the line splits and goes to both stars. Yeah, that's possible. In reality, yes. In Once Upon a While, that is small star in it, small star in reality. Where is Davy B? Shouldn't he be hitting me over the head with the wrench blind? He's probably still asleep. I'm a little bit early, so 7 o'clock. He's probably not awake yet. He should be asleep though. Who is on first? First base. Who's on first? Don't know. Look up all the words, nouns, but don't discount any. Most words have a symbol or symbolic meaning. You speak in words, and I think in pictures. I haven't left home plate. Just be the first. Just be who? Just be. Hey, Zozo, how you doing? Just be the first. I don't know what the first is. If you talk like that, that would, in any other language, that might be just be the alpha, not the omega. Omega. So just be the first. Just be Doctor Who. Find the Doctor. I was waiting to see if I could be far enough behind that when everyone caught up. I think I was the first. Very possible. How to say it. So Forrest, the chest has been found, treasure's been found. Two different things. Why is everybody here? It's been found, etc., etc. It's impossible to know, me personally thinking. Whilst I believe that everything, it's just impossible. The poem is impossible. The information is impossible. I don't know how he did it. I really don't. It's like, when they do these card tricks, pick a card, open it all out, you take a card, put it back in the pack, and then they put it in and they see what the card is. And then they show you it and say, that's not your card, basically. So whilst they're looking at the card that you had, they're making you believe that the card is in the middle of the pack and there's no way they could know what it is, but they've already seen the card. So then they shuffle it and do everything that they want. It doesn't matter because they already know what the card is. Shuffle it and everything, or even ask you to shuffle it or whatever. And all the time, they already know what the answer is. And you look at them and go, how did you do that? How did you do that? So with sleight of hand, they did it. With Forrest, I don't know how Forrest did it, because if it is predicted, if it is something that he affected, now I know it's something that he affected, I know it's something that he's done. How is it possible? I would have, if it had said to me, Mario, I'm going to do this thing, I'd have thought he was nuts. Especially, you know, many years ago, not just, I don't, more than 20, more than 30 probably, long time ago. If he'd have said to me, got this idea, how everyone can be a winner, it's going to affect the future, etc., etc. I'd have said, Forrest, you're nuts. There is no way, you can do that. And then to top it off, he'll say, well, actually, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this treasure hunt. I'm going to write a poem. I'm going to tell people where the treasure is without telling them where it is. And I'm going to get the fish, one fish. I'm going to make one person find it. Nah. No. Excuse me. Can you send the white van over, please? Or the yellow van, or whatever colour they call it. Because there's a man here that's lost it. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's in another world. Because what he's talking about can't be done. I'd have said something like that. He needs checking up. Somebody needs to have a look at this bloke, because seriously, what he's talking about is like, no, that ain't going to happen. And he did it. He did it all of it. And the name Forrest Fenn, they ain't never going to die. Ever. Ever. Major Forrest Burke Fenn, no. Or whoever Major Forrest Burke Fenn is. Because don't forget, the car at the Denver Museum, that didn't happen. The hairs, sure he said the olive jar. But let's say the chest, that didn't happen. So at some point, when things are as they seem, that will happen. And there will be fun and answers, and there'll be the promise of new discoveries, and all of those things that people, ignore and forget about and don't worry about. Your treasure is where your heart is. Sure, the poem was all past one continent, 15 years creating it. It was probably on his mind before he even started. I can't tell you how. He said the poem had to be just so, it had to be the way that it was. And it's like, I don't know. Even with AI now, even without AI now, the way that it is, as good as it is, it's hard to believe. I don't know how he's done it. If there's a program involved in this, if there's what's the word? I can't think of the word now. Algorithm. If there's an algorithm involved in this, I don't know how he did it then. I still don't know how he could do it now. But besides all that, no, I don't know. It's not even worth thinking about, because I just don't know. I can't explain it because it's impossible. And Forrest said it's only difficult, not impossible. So if he's talking about the chest, that's difficult but not impossible. And that's a lot of metal and resolved, to try and look up all those words and try and work out the subterfuge that is not in plain sight, or whatever the statement is. 76, Jesus said, the Father's kingdom is like a merchant who had a supply of merchandise and found a pearl. That merchant was prudent. He sold the merchandise and bought the single pearl. That's a bit different. Found a pearl for himself. Father's kingdom is like a merchant who had a supply of merchandise and found a pearl. That merchant was prudent. He sold the merchandise and bought the single. But isn't that similar to the person that found the treasure? Left it where it was, bought the land. Therefore, he owned the treasure. That's prudent. So he found treasure on somebody's land, and instead of saying found the treasure, he bought the land, something like that, and then obviously owned the treasure because he bought the land. Exactly why I posted it. There you go. Exactly why I posted it. Still lost it. I read it and I just don't. I don't know. So basically, I'm just trying to say I don't mind being wrong. That's how I learn. I make mistakes, I do things wrong, and then I learn, and then I try not to do those mistakes again. But you're not just calling me out; you're calling Forrest out. You're saying Forrest is wrong by saying all you need is the poem. If the person who started the chase says all you need is a poem, it means the answers are in the poem. Has to be in the poem. If you can't get your answers from anywhere else but the poem, you can't get your answers from anywhere else but the poem must have the answers. It must do. And all you had was the book and the poem in 2010 on that first day when it should have been possible to solve it. Now, to say that I'm wrong because I agree with Forrest when he says all you need is the poem and the answers must be in the poem because that's all you have, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, MJ, he is priceless. Who is Jesus? Mario, what is happening? Oh, can't. So I spoke to somebody else about this before. If you state, predictions about what the poem says, then that will highlight the poem, and that will destroy the chase. You'll end up like Brandon Biggs. Everyone will be like, "Oh, what's happening next? What's happening next?" Blah 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 blah, and you will destroy it. It will be ruined. So, at some point, the information will come out. But if you said something amazing, and it was proved that the poem knew that something amazing, what that something amazing was, then before the chase could end properly, it may get ruined by, the publicity and whatever people, whatever else people found out. Which is why we're still waiting 4 years, 4 years on. So the chase something has to end the chase. That has to end in the way that Forrest was going to make it work. That has to be the case. And I don't think taking prophetic, if that's the right word, information from the poem before the chase ends and putting it out in the public domain and having it being scrutinised and understood, like a few people, probably doesn't matter. But once it gets into the big wide world, then there could be issues. Leo Portal Otak, 8 to the 8th. Well, Brandon Biggs is a con. I know, but he has been ripped apart because of what he said. And yet, I don't know, he said a few things and people took it a certain way, which is not how I took it. He was basically saying, these are my interpretations of the information that I'm getting. And I'm just interpreting what I see. I could be totally wrong. It doesn't mean to say that the information being given to me is wrong. It means that I'm not, clever enough to understand what it is that's being said to me, which is a bit like the chase. the information being given is good information. The fact that we can't understand it and we make wrong conclusions, that's not the person who wrote the poem's fault. That's our fault. So I don't know. He may or may not be a con. I don't know. I haven't formed an opinion yet, but it's still blown up. He's more popular now than he would have been if he hadn't said a bullet was past Trump's ear. Somebody else is predicting it's going to happen again. So quite likely. That's what the person did who found the lost waterfall mine by Redding, California. When they found it, they bought the land and owned it. Yeah, that's pretty clever. And if you were Forrest, you could, if he's prophetic and all the stuff in the poem is true, he could do the same sort of thing. Brandon Biggs was wrong. Otherwise, he would have the chance. Oh dear. August the 8th. Well, maybe something's supposed to happen on Forrest's birthday. That would be much better, wouldn't it? August the 22nd. What if something was to happen then? Or what if something did happen then? What if August the 22nd is a date for something else, not just Forrest's birthday, but a date, that's important. Just the what ifs, which is supposed to happen. Mary, do you have a penchant for trickery? No, I don't. See, the thing is, like, people might not believe what I'm saying, and that's up to them. I'm not bothered. I'm trying to get across that Forrest hasn't done anything wrong and has given us answers and information. And this was supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy this, not argue about it or fall out over it or let it obsess you or, try and kill yourself by doing stupid things, even though you're told not to. I've said 100 times, probably 100 times. I'm only here because of the rubbish that people were saying about Forrest and the inability for people to accept that things are not what they seem and that there is a solution to the poem that is simple, really, truly, honestly, one I think of that simple for a chest. And then there's a secret treasure and promise of new discoveries, and there's bells and jars, and there's another hunt, with JCB, which has all the hallmarks of Forrest Fenn, ringing in my ears. That this was always going to happen. This was everything that Forrest was going to, do. And why can't people be on board with it? Why can't they accept the simple truth? If Forrest tells you that, I don't get it. It's hard to believe, like real searchers. It really is, because I'm hearing him say, "Sold the first two clues, walked right by the chest," and I'm thinking, well, that's where the chest is then. That's it. I don't need to laugh it off or think of other things. If the man who set up the chase says, "Sold the first two clues, walked right by the chest," then that's telling me, well, I only need two clues. I only need two clues. If I have two clues, those two clues, well, I only need one clue, potentially. He didn't say, after the second clue they walked past the chest. He said sold the first two and walked right by the chest, which means they could have walked past the chest after the first clue. So, not the case, I don't think, but could have been. So, if you're going to start and end it in the same place, which is basically what Forrest said, you arrive back where you started and know the place for the first time. But if you're going to start and end it in the same place, and you walk right past it after the first two clues, then why do I need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 clues? And why do I need to go to 7 more different locations? if I'm going to walk past the chest after the second clue. And then all the other, statements as well that says this is where it is. Basically, Forrest is saying this is where it is, this is where it is, this is where it is, this is where it is. And nobody's listening. Nobody's hearing Forrest saying this is where it is. And I just don't, it's hard for me to believe that you're real searchers when you don't take on board that information. This is where it is, which is basically saying the home of Brown. It's at the home of Brown. It's at the home of Brown. So why is nobody listening? If you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the blaze? It's supposed to be the last clue. It's supposed to be the last clue, the blaze is. And you don't have to worry about it if you have the home of Brown. What? Forrest, what? Say it again. Let me listen to what you just said. If you have the home of Brown, why are you worried about the blaze? Yep, that's what you said. But why? It says in the poem, if you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. So I finish. The chest has to be at the blaze. But you're saying don't worry about the blaze if you know the home of Brown, which is 7 clues ago. What the heck are you saying? Now, those are the things that I think. And when people don't hear what I'm saying after what Forrest said, I'm thinking, no, you're not real searchers. You can't be. Because Forrest said 2 clues. Literally said 2 clues. Solve the first 2 clues, more than 50% there. Solve the first 2 clues, it's academic. Solve the first 2 clues, walk right by the chest. If I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. And I'm thinking, and these people are still searching, and they're still doing 9 clues, and they're still going to 9 locations. After all these statements from Forrest Fenn, which is saying it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. There was only ever going to be one spot. It's here. And people are saying, oh, they're the solver, and they found the chest, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, you're crazy. And as Robert said, Dave, man from the East, it's like, you went to 9 different locations, and it's in a place that's not wet. I know, this is Forrest Fenn saying, not me, not my thoughts, just statements from Forrest Fenn. I know the chest is wet. And people are saying that they've got to solve pretty much in the desert almost, where it's really dry. And it's like, and they say, well, Forrest said, nearly everywhere's wet in the, Rocky Mountains. But exactly, he's saying it's wet and your solve is not wet. It's in a dry area. It's like, no. If your chest is not wet, it can't be that. Then Forrest says, it's in a place people will not normally go. And their chest is somewhere where, at any given time within the hour, somebody's walking right by it. And it's like, no. He said it's in a place where people would not normally go. So it has to be. I'm not saying, it may or may not be. It has to be in a place where people would not normally go. So if your solve is not that kind of place, no, not you. Not you. It's in an isolated spot. If your solve is not in an isolated spot, ain't you. It ain't you. So it's in a safe place. That's different. Your best revenge is me wearing the bracelet. That's different. It's like, I don't know, Forrest is saying, here's the answer, 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 here's the answer. And nobody's listening. Or he's not saying, here's the answer. He's saying, look, your answer is wrong. That's what he's saying. Forrest, I think, is at Taos Pueblo, because that's the home of Brown. It's in an isolated spot. Is the Taos Pueblo an isolated spot where people would not normally go? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. It's not in an isolated spot. That's not an isolated spot. And anywhere in that Taos Pueblo is not isolated. Unless it's a gentleman not going into the woman's into the woman's room, or the woman not going into the men's room. That's in the place I wouldn't normally go. But no. Now the chest may be wet in a place there, but no. People normally go to that spot. So no, can't be. As good a solve as it is, no. And I've had a lot of good solves, and I think, oh no, it can't be that, because Forrest said this. So you have to put all those things together. But mainly, if I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. What clue was that in your solve? Listen, please listen. What clue was it? Was it 2? Was it clue 2? Was the home of Brown clue 2 in your solve? Was it clue 3? Did you get it wrong? So if it was clue 2, solve the first 2 clues and walk right by the chest. If I told you the home of Brown, you go right straight to it. What if I solved the first 2 clues and the second clue was the home of Brown? I could go, remember what it, I could go straight to the chest at clue 2 if I had the home of Brown. Oh, God, that's easy. But how would I know I had the right home of Brown? Wet, not dry. That's what I said. The wet chest. So if you have a dry chest, a dry area where your chest is, that can't be you. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry, but I meant wet, not dry. I know the chest is wet. I only went to 16 of the 18 locations. Won't stumble upon it. Exactly. Well, if it's in an isolated spot, you won't, will you? Or shouldn't. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. How much does a pie weigh? You've got to weigh a pie. Yes, MJ, one of my favorites. Ooh, what did MJ say? Is it living? Trusted, yummy. Oh, I'm missing a load of stuff. I'm making fresh fried potato. Oh, yeah. Yes. Leave it as you find it. Things are not what they seem. Trickery involved. Yeah, well, it isn't trickery. Is it trickery? I think, as I've explained before, Forrest was trying to do something and was telling you what he was doing without telling you what he was doing. So it seems bad. And like I say, if you try to organise a surprise party for someone, and there's phone calls, secret phone, you're caught having secret phone calls, you're caught with messages, about meeting people at certain times, and it looks bad. But things aren't what they seem. You're not doing nothing bad. You're doing something good. But these things have to take place. You can't not do them because you want to do the surprise party, so you have to do them. And it's all for the greater good in the end. But you have to go past that bad bit to get to the good bit. Thanks, Steve, and thank you for being here while I am live. Forrest said he walked back to his car and laughed. Forrest said he was surprised no person. Yes, he did. I'm surprised that no person was around, and I'm surprised he did what he did. And I'm surprised. No, I'm not surprised that he walked back to the car. But Forrest said, if you're walking more than a mile, howdy. No, he didn't say howdy. If you're walking more than a mile, you walk too far. So those people with solves that are more than a mile, I'm thinking, what? Have you heard what Forrest said? No, obviously not. If your solve from beginning where warm water salt to your blaze is more than a mile, it's too far. Not my words, not my deduction, not, what I interpret. It's what he said. It's what Forrest said. Because of what Capro said. If you're walking more than a mile, you're walking too far. Which means, no. If your solve is 2 miles, it's not you. If it's 10 miles, it's not you. And again, I'll say, do you see how that works? Forrest makes statements that says, your solve is wrong. The chest is wet. Where you're telling me the chest is dry. So it's not you. If you walk more than a mile, it's too far. Your solve is 5.5 miles worth. It's too far. It's not you. Those sort of statements that say, it's not you. It's in an isolated spot. Your solve is in a place where everybody goes. It's not you. Do you see how it works? So look at your solve. Take everything that Forrest Fenn said, which is what I said, try the law wheel, and not try the wheel. Try the law wheel is you take the 4 states, you get all the information, you put it into those states, all the information that Forrest said, and you put it into those states where you think it is. And as soon as one of those bits of information doesn't match correctly, you have to rule it out. You have to rule it out. Now, that's a good way of doing it. And like I said, I've done a lot of solves, and it's easy to rule them out when you hear it's in an isolated spot. It's in a place you wouldn't normally go. People wouldn't normally go. No one's going to stumble on that chest. That in itself, that statement, when people tell me, what their solve is, I'm like, are you crazy? No one out of 9 billion people on the planet is going to stumble on that chest. Because it's in a place people would not normally go. So no one's going to stumble on it. No one's going to stumble on it if they would not normally go there. So if your solve is in a place where people go every day, a fishing hole maybe, a favorite fishing spot, if your solve is in a place where people go daily, no, it's not there. And by daily, I mean at least within 12 feet. No, it can't be. It's in an isolated spot. The place itself is in the sun for most of the day, but the chest is not. The chest is not. And people say, yeah, my solve's there. What, you mean where the sun is? There, right there, where the sun's shining on it. That's where your chest is. Right there where the sun is shining on it. And guess what? There's more than one way into that place. Forrest said there's only one way in that he knows of. And it's in a car park. There's only one way in. Well, I suppose there's only one way in for the car. Maybe. But there's not only one way in. There's not only one way in. So it has to be a place where there's only one way in. Let me think, 9 Mile Hole. Is there only one way in there? I've never been there, but I would say that you could get into that wood from any direction. Not one way in. But what do I know? If Forrest told you what home of Brown is, you go straight to it. Last clue. Yes. So, and his statement again is, hey, Greg, how you doing? In the house. Oh, you needed there, D-A, in the house. One way direction. Damn, Greg. If I knew you were coming, I would have started your introduction sooner. Trump's up for Mario. Yeah, I'm up for Trump as well, by the sounds of it, because he seems to be doing all right. Thanks, Mr. MJ, for your vote of confidence. So, yeah, the last clue is when you have the, did he say treasure in your hand or chest in your hands, or that's when you get the, whatever he said. But, yeah, the last clue. That's the most important, because that's when you have the chest. The last clue is the most important one. You don't need, I don't know, you don't need all of this. Everything that people have done, you don't need it all. You don't need it all. It's just, don't need it. Definitely would not be in a place where fishing decals to go. It's true though, trusted. As fun as it sounds, it's true. And I just don't get why people ignore it. and then claim that they've solved it. It's like, and that's why I can't believe that people are real searchers. It's like, come on, this information is not. It's not quantum mechanics. It's in your face information that says, nope, you're wrong. If that's the solve that you have, Greg, are you still arm wrestling with Street? Love my intros. Never trust non-searchers. No. Street has tiny hands. Hey, Mama. I enjoyed the conversation you and Ashley had. It was quite a good show. I've been to Nine Mile several times. Lots of ways to access that area. As usual, but yes, there's more than one way to. Yeah, so therefore, but not just 9 Mile Hole. I'm talking about all the other solves that people have. It's like, oh, shut up. Don't even It's like, why do you want me to? Why do you want to make me believe that that I'm listening to what Forrest is saying, and what you're saying, it's got nothing to do with what Forrest was saying. So if you're trolling, I just find it hard to believe that people are real searchers when they say stupid stuff like, it's in a car park, or it's at this favourite fishing spot, or it's this. I'm thinking, no, only one way in. Look how many ways you can get to this place that you're saying it is. And they won't have it. And it's like, no, you can't be real, because look, this is where you're saying it is. You see that path there, you can get in from there. You see this path here, you can get in from there. And you're saying the chest is in the middle, and there's fishermen, on either side of the riverbank, and there's people just walking past, enjoying the walk. And it's in a place where people will normally go. And yet there's people there every day walking within wherever you're saying it was, 20 foot of it. It's like, no, don't even try and make me believe that, because it's not possible. Now, please listen. When Forrest says people would not normally go, he means everybody. Everybody. Even if you think it's on private land, somebody's going there. You wouldn't be able to go there, but somebody is. So it's not in a place people would not normally go, even if it's on private land, because those people who are on that private land, they would go there. Am I talking? No, you're writing. But you may be talking, I just can't hear you. Where a car could place you less than 1 mile. I here all block. You're here, Hanoi. You are here, Mr. Hustler or Mrs. Hustler, or however you want to be addressed. To be honest, Greg, you don't need them. Uh-oh, I see. I see you. Yes, I see you, Hanoi. I had fun last couple of weeks. Everyone talks about chains. Oh, chains. Chains. Change to a block. Am I talking? You're writing. Oh, I've read that. Zozo, thanks. And for sure, not that. Uh-oh. You're going so quick. And for sure, not that long. Everything, once in a while. Okay, I don't know what that says. But every time now, waste of my time waiting. Hey, hobos, follies. I'm sure there's a different way of saying that, but Zozo, they just waste the space. I'm still searching next month again. Are you thinking of someone has a solve that meets all those conditions and can be followed with just a poem? It has a shot at being correct, right to a 12. I'm thinking that, but that's just me. But yeah, you have to take into account what Forrest said, and if you don't, then you're in trouble, son. Uh-oh. September 7, and that day Forrest passed away, supposedly. If he came in through the back way, then it's plausible there was a front way. You saying it's a lollipop? Well, I think some of the information is in the poem only, which is part of the Nothing Is As It Seems. Back to your point about the second clue and people walking past it. Maybe if you did walk past clue 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, would bring you back to number 2 as a confirmation. Well, that's what I said. Unless your souls take you back to that point where you walk past it, then no. But if it takes it further away, which is what I said, if If you're walking 9 miles with your solve, then you're walking too far. So a mile for each clue. But if your 9th clue is back at your 2nd clue, then you shouldn't need to walk 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should just go from 1 to 9. If it's that. At end of day, it's still fun searching. Yes, it is. And it was supposed to be fun. This was supposed to be fun. It wasn't supposed to, be something bad. Okay, but that has nothing to do with the intros that show frustration. You don't need to. Route 60, that was a solve I did as well, Route 66. And the Tower of London, the fire. Another one. I can't believe frustration slows a turtle back on the chain again. The pretenders. Working on the chain gang. Slow. Wonder why that turtle is in that picture on the moon with the dove. There are answers. Here come the trolls again. I want to be straight with you, Greg. You day, you prefer that. Me too. What? Not even going to read that. Next live show going to be interesting. Woo! Thanks, Ozo. Why was Lincoln shot? You know something, Hanoi. You know something. Oh, you must be. Robert, or at least heard what Robert said, or knows what Robert knows. 66 chains. What do you got? 80 mile. 80 mile. I don't know that. Everyone that has been boots on the ground all have great souls. Yes, 8.25 miles to be exact. Everything. Robert. F equals 6. Yes, it does. Nikki, yes. Ooh, some interesting statements coming out now. Less than a few miles equals 2.25 miles equals exact measurement of feet after you convert the pound. Morse code tribute to John Morse. Yeah, that's another thing. I think I said that to Forrest. I can't remember about Morse. Did I? Yeah, I'm sure I did. I'm sure I sent him an email about that. Like I said, I did a lot of solves, lots and lots and lots of different things. Why not rotation of chains on bike? Battleship Rock 8. Well, I think I've talked about Battleship enough. Survey. Don't know what that means. Because Lincoln created the National Banking Act to require banks to have 100% reserves for all money. Yes, it's all about money, which is what Robert was saying, isn't it? Money, money, money. Which is what Indy was saying about Medici. Ooh, any part of Sam, better than no part of any. Just asking if anyone thought of bike routes. More than a few. Greenbacks. Yes. Why did Forrest show that bill with the duck? The two folded over, the pen, blah blah blah. Another solve that somebody did. Kennedy getting blasted by the key. Another one. Does it come with a sidecar? A motor pike. Oh, that's a joke. A motor pike and sidecar. The bullet. Oh no, that sounds like Bill. Greenbacks was before the National Banking Act. Rust is blood. I didn't make that connection. Rust stains on my pants, sliding down the fire escape. Well, that sounds bad. I don't want to go that way. 8.25 miles equals bottom of the 181 highway. After leaving Earthquake Lake, take it from there. 8.5 miles. Turn to left will be seen. First clue equals beginning where one water salt equals. Yeah, I think there's one of them on Mammoth. Is there something CC on Mammoth? With Swan Lake, and Bunsen Peak. And place for the beavers. I can't remember what that was called. Is it beavers? What else is there? Lots of stuff there anyway. Wilson! That's another soul. Wilson. Is that Wyoming, Wilson? Wilson, Hoback. That's another one. The Green River with the dippy toe in it. Was it Green River or Snake River? Flaming Gorge, another one. Somebody did one with that grave marker. Obviously, going further down, you'd end up with 5 solved. Plenty of solves around there. The Wind River Range on the other side, Matitsi, Grey Bull. Further down, Atrona, Newcastle. I live near Newcastle. Weird, isn't it? Like, there's plenty of names that are associated with the chase that I have in my life. Arsenal is another place that's in over there. Tea with Olga. Ooh. What are your thoughts on tea? Tea and text. Tea is a colour to me. West Fork Cabin. Yes. I did the Cabin Creek. There's a cabin there. That was another solve. But the CC is more important than the Cabin Creek. Beaver Point, you're not lost. Just like all his pop is colours. Federal Reserve. Oh, don't forget, I've said already, but the car needs to be at the Denver Museum for the end of the chase. Because that's what Forrest said. Red, black, and green. Red and yellow and black and green. Red, green, and black. Well, waiting for the lights to change. There were some more colours. Red and green, red, green, and black and yellow. Black and yellow, black and yellow. Uncompahgre is native. Yes, that's why I was there, Ben. The warm, rusty water, the Uncompahgre. But there's a. So you were further up. But there's a. I can't remember the name of it. But it's twinned with a place in Germany where Forrest was at some point in time. And it's Icebox Canyon. I think it's Icebox Canyon. Is to the left and south of it on the map. So that's where I was in that towny place there, off the Uncompahgre River. Yes, warm rusty water. That's another one that I did. So you're slightly. If you look at where you said your blaze was, if you look further down, there's a better looking fiery type blaze. So you're north of where the blaze was that I was thinking of. Mine's slightly south of. If you look, you'll see it. You can't miss it. I thought it was a better blaze than yours. Sorry, but again, it was like no. Forrest said this, so it can't be that. And yet, another good solve. It was a really good solve, but Skippy is hippie to me. Steel penny. Annoying. At what time was Lincoln pronounced dead? What day in November was Kennedy shot? How many yards is the chain? Inquiring minds want to know. Hey, okay. Sorry, Larry. How are you and Oksana? Why did the duck turn on the lights? Uh-oh. Doctor. Wow, some weird stuff coming out today. Purple, red, blue, orange. Well, there's another reason why Forrest said it. He always thought he deserved a throne. I suppose that will be known soon. Coco Pelly is my new solve in Colorado now, as I still love the Secret Garden. Eden. What is a scissor move in a dogfight. I don't know, but it made him cut up. You'd have to assume that it cut, it's one that cuts off the other person. But I don't know. In the shoulder. Wow, I'm getting lost with all this. And Wyoming is Algonquin for Colorado. Right. Lincoln was shot in the hat. Well, so was mildew, wasn't it? Hopi teacher. Oh, I like Hopis. Hopi teacher with hand shown stop. Just me on my own search having fun. Yeah, the Hopi talk about the creator. So, Mama, you were talking about it. So when they bend those trees, they had like the stick people and the coyote and the wolf. Was it stick people or twig people? Stick people. They put the twigs in a bag or something. Yeah, went down that road with those trees. That was when Forrest was talking about the fetish and the widow's mite, all those things. Even looked all those words up as well. A bike route doesn't have to be designated a bike route to be a perfectly good bike route. True, that's a very true statement. But the bike thing took me, I said before, took me to Kurt Gowdy State Park because there's a soul for that as well there. Especially like the mahogany bit and the No Place for the Meek and the blah blah blah, Raven in the Wood and all that. But again, not what Forrest said, so that couldn't have that one. I'm wondering why we haven't used the camera yet on the pictures in the book. I do see the area in the picture in the book, but it takes a lot of light and certain things to bring it out. So, as I said earlier, I don't know if you're in, there are map pictures in the book. So you can look in the book and you see a map of a certain place in Wyoming, which is dead weird. Dead weird. And I'm kidding you not. I don't know how Forrest did it. Obviously, it was set up for a reason. Those hints would help me with the clues, potentially, but I think it's the other way around. I think if you have the answers, you can understand what the hints are. I don't know how Forrest worked it out. I don't know. I really don't. But like just off on their own, it'd be difficult to understand what it is you were looking at unless you knew already what it was you were looking at, and you could, marry the two. Which is why I laughed when Trusty said you had to have the words before you could find them. It's like, well, that means that I had the answer before I was looking for it in the poem. Because you already have to have the answer before you can find it, apparently. Which doesn't make sense because if you already have the answer, you are only looking in the poem to confirm that the answer you have is correct. So if my answer was 9 Mile Hole, I would look in the poem for 9 Mile Hole, but I already have the answer 9 Mile Hole. See how that works? So either the poem tells you what the answer is, or you already know what the answer is, and you're looking in the poem to confirm the fact that the answer is correct. He was shot at twice. The Stick Indians, yes. There's a whole story about that. The bad and the good, growing and which one will I become? The one that you feed the most. So, you can either grow to be good or bad, depending on how much you give each. If you give your personality a lot of bad, then you become a bad person. If you give your personality a lot of good, then you become a good person. So whichever one you feed the most. Yes, pictures are the main clue. Yeah, like I say, but it helps if you already know the answer. or know the area to know that the pictures help with the area that you already knew. Name the Rockefeller Bank. Laugh out loud. I see a lot of this brown disc on the side of a wall that I can't find. I see a lot of this. What that means? Ah, Magic Mario and the Ding Dong swinging the big dummies. Thanks for that. Superman raised war bonds because he had bad eyesight. Yeah, it doesn't matter, Dave. Hey, Davey B. But yeah, it doesn't matter. You know, you can't help fools. they say silly things because they're silly. If you know an answer, do you need to confirm it? Yeah. You don't know the answer, though, do you? You can find, however the chase went, you will find whatever it is you are looking for. You will find what you're looking for. But that doesn't mean to say it's correct. It just means you're correct. It just means that you found what you were looking for, which is what the bias thing is all about. You're always going to find what you're looking for because that's what you're looking for. What needs to happen is you are told what's in the poem. So you're told something. You're not looking for something. So if you put your name into the poem, then you have to read what the poem tells you. But if you want the poem to tell you something specific, you will try and make the poem tell you something specific, whether it makes sense or not. So everything that you read has to make sense. It has to be a true English statement. And if it's not a true English statement, then it can't be right. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I've only used the information that Forrest gave. There are some times when and Dave will tell you, there's sometimes when I look at the poem and I don't try, but we talk about stuff, and it's like, well, I don't think Forrest would have done that because then that, that would do this or that would do that. I don't know for certain if I'm right, but we don't do it because, Forrest gave a few rules, and those are what we go by. There are plenty of times where we can make the poem say something, that would be good. It'd be a good thing for it to be right. But that's just cheating yourself. You know what I mean? It has to be a real, truthful statement. None of us have answers till we have something in your hands. Have the books in my mind, the treasures. Have the books in my mind, the treasures. My? Don't know what my means. Have you said something else that I've missed? What exactly is that you have acquired? What exactly is that? You're asking me? Are you asking Queen? There's a answer. I have one of Forrest treasures, Greg. I let the FB know. I know about it. Well done. My treasure has been found. June 6, 2020. Yes, treasure, not jest. I'm still looking for that damn sock that I put in the... Well, it might be, sorry, it might be where Forrest lost his socks or shoes or whatever. Or those wet socks that he was hanging up. FBI won't help you. No, they won't help. They can't help. I don't want to get off topic, but if that person from the FBI, in the slightest way possible, thinks that I will believe that they found on his phone a Google search for how far Oswald was away from Kennedy, man, they're desperate. They are desperate. That is not a search that he would have made if he was going to shoot Donald Trump. And they're just trying to link, how can we link this to... That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. He did a search for how far Oswald was away. He's 20 years old, probably doesn't give a monkeys about JFK or, Oswald. But that bull of what happened on that day is not worth researching. Good luck to us in mine eat socks. British English, yes, British. No, English. Queen's English has to be the Queen's English because, like, British is Scottish, Welsh, Irish. Has to be the Queen's English. English. Like, I say, old chap, that sort of English. When you guys find those, see if my Tupperware. Yeah, I've got loads of lids and phone records help. I heard some people might get the phone records. I'm going to see. Yeah, so this person who did the taping has got the best information with regard to the bullets that were shot and where they came from and who potentially fired them. So I think they're looking for that person, that David, whatever his name is. Excuse me. The bullet went over him, but the shots that Crooks fired, plus the shot that took him out, the different sounds of them and that, and whether there was another shoot. But some people don't hear what's been said. Apparently, the policeman took a shot at Crooks, and that stopped him doing what he was doing. So, and they could have got worse. And then he got shot by the sniper, the counter sniper. And it's like, well, none of that makes sense because you said there were so many shots that Crooks fired and the counter sniper shot. So how did the policeman fire a shot? That's rubbish. Or the policeman did fire a shot and there wasn't a counter sniper, which makes more sense because if there was a counter sniper, the 300 blah 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 win something or other sniper rifle that he used would have blown that bloke's head off, and there was only an entrance wound. Hang on, if they used that powerful sniper rifle, there would have been splatter all over the top of the roof, and there was just a little trickle. So no, like none of it makes sense. So I don't believe any of it. They're all full of bull. And that Kamala, I don't know. I don't know what planet she's on. I lose contacts. Don't know when you guys find that. I haven't seen that. Forrest problem sent birds to location. Forrest problem sent. All things are wherever the TV remote is, I'm sure. No, they're all in the fridge. That's where it normally is. Find it in the fridge. Not this. No, not that Queen's English. Not your English Queen. But comic books. That. Zozo, if you want comic books, see Dave. He's in chat. He's got plenty of comic books. That's why I made a birdie rock. Catcher in the Rye, 1.5. TOC 5. Chance wins. It's an ace. Chase wins. Well, he's got a hold card. Looks like Zozo and I need to pair up some Tupperware. Fib mine, cool, whip, and country crock tub. Sorry. Love me some classic and vintage Silver Age comics. Yeah, I want my Viz comics back and my Judge Dredd. Oh dear. 4 aces and a joker takes the pot. Well, 4 cards and a joker. I don't know if it was 4 aces. But happiness is the pot. What does happiness mean? Video from last show put back on everyone so you can see how evil people are. Yeah, I think I've seen quite a few evil people. He has no understanding of comic books. Judge Dredd. Yeah, Judge Dredd comic books. Well, I call them comic books. That's what they look like. Yay big. Yay big. Yay wide. Judge Dredd. Was that the secondary part? How evil will people be? Don't know. Yes, Mario, people evil that never searched at all. How far will they torment the solver? Well, I think, if the solver is the solver, then the only torment is people pretending to be searchers. I think 22 beads, turquoise beads. 22nd of August. It's a good date. A person searches for treasures long enough, he gets good at knowing the good information from the bad. Yeah, that's the issue. But the thing is, it's whilst it's right knowing the good information from the bad, it's knowing that the information that you have yourself, that you are basing your solve on, is not correct. And it's impossible to be correct based on the information that Forrest gives. And that's the bit of listening that's important. You know, if Forrest says the chest is wet, you better believe the chest is wet. But he doesn't just say that, he backs it up with, did the hot water affect the patina? Now, if you ignore that and make out that he's only joking, I think that's wrong. Because I know the chest is wet. Well, why is it wet? Well, there's water. Well, could that water be hot? Well, you're supposed to be looking for warm water, so a synonym of warm is hot. So is it another clue? Another hint? Whatever you want to call it. So did the hot water affect the patina? Could be potentially a very important piece of information. And yet he put it out there as though, it was nothing. Put the phone down. Thought they got a clue or a hint. And maybe they did. Or maybe there was no such person on the other end of the phone and Forrest was just going to give out some information. People will get evil enough to create a situation pertaining to searches and murder. Oh, gore. For a story, I'm sure. Gore a story? For a story. If the solver is content, then how can they torture him? Yeah, Well, like I say, the torture is, there can't be real searchers. They're not real solvers or searchers. And their souls are just pretend solves because they would just go, oh, hang on a minute, Forrest said, and my soul says, so it can't be right. But they don't. It's been 4 years or so, huh? I don't know what that was for. Whatever Frank said. What did you say? I can't remember what you said, Frank. Answer right now. Laugh out loud. Good point, Nikki. How content are they? Could they be? Could he? Oh, it's a he. Could he be broken, tricked, tempted under the right amount of pressure? No. I would have thought so. I think if you manage to unlock the clues, was it? Decipher the clues in the poem. If you spent a lot of time trying to understand what Forrest Fenn was saying, I don't think you're going to be broken. I don't think you're going to be tricked or tempted, because I think the metal and resolve needed just to look at the words, let alone anything else, as making you wary of everything else that could possibly happen. And that's just, an observation. I can't say that that's fact. But if you die with more than $50 in your pocket, you're a loser. Is money the rule? Yeah, I don't think that's what he said. And I think it's another big hint. So if you die with more than $50 in your pocket, you're a failure. So if you're a failure, is there a reason why you shouldn't have $50 in your pocket? Now, if the answer is correct, then there's an absolute good reason why you shouldn't have $50 in your pocket. I'm thinking Taco Bell. Amy, if I had it might way, maybe if I had it my way, the community might not get answers until 2033. Is satisfied a synonym of contentment? Satisfied, contentment? I would say yes. Well, satisfied, contentment. I don't know. I can't answer that on the grounds that satisfied. I would say yes, but I'm not, out of all the words I can remember, I don't think satisfied is a word that I remember specifically for contentment. Satisfied and content, and then you had the ment on the end. So satisfied if you're content. Contentment, I can't remember that being the case, but I would say yes, it is. But I don't think that's what Forrest was saying. I think contentment is in the poem along with comfortable and warm. And contentment runs from the top of the poem, the first line, to, warm, like warm waters hold. So the contentment is probably, that's where you start, that's where you finish. So the M of warm could be, I can't remember now. I'm certain, but I can't be 100% certain. So I'm certain that the M of warm is the M of contentment and the M of comfortable, which is why warm is comfortable and contentment is good in the poem. So if you look at the first stanza, and then you see begin it where warm waters halt, at the warm, you should find comfortable and you should find contentment. So contentment goes from the top down to warm, and comfortable goes through the middle of warm, like the arm is the comfortable. So the ARM is part of the word comfortable. Yeah, off memory. I'll take a Mexican pizza and 2 crunchy taco supreme, please. Remember when they had a $3 menu? Oh. How much money did you have in your pocket when you read The Chase? As much as I've got now, nothing. So I haven't got any worse, and I haven't got, mind you, can't have minus money in your pocket. So. No, Nikki, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. That is back. Remember the 7-layer burrito? And oi, I had free 33. Oh, that's almost Street's email again. 10 items under $3. Cool. I can't remember those days. You see how play on words work? I can't remember them because I'm not American, so I'll never ever remember them. Who orders burrito supreme? Okay, Larry, now we see. Okay, Larry, really, it boils down to greed and power. I'm going to have, I thought you were going to say carrot cake. I like carrot cake. You did, but you just added the word pan. Carrot pancakes with cream cheese frosting for breakfast. Carrot pancakes. I like carrot cake with the frosting or whatever you call it on. I'm not greedy. I'm a loser just like the rest of us. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Larry. I'm a loser. So am I, Larry. Don't feel bad. Trusted. My mom used to make me carrot cake for my birthday cake. Carrot pancake sounds good. Yeah, carrot cake's lovely. I love carrot cake, but I don't know about carrot pancakes. Oh, someone had to bring it up. I'm not even going to read it. There. Carrot anything. That's what I was thinking, Woody. I mean, he may be right. I may be a loser, but I don't want to be told. If we are all made in God's image, how can we be losers? Well, Ben must have been made in God's image because he's got that beard. If we're all made in God's image. Root of evil is the Iron Bank religion, is the sword. Yeah, I think the banks are probably the root of all evil. I think the money men, man, they're just creaming it. Oh, I put pineapple in my carrot cake. Ooh, yum, 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 yum. Now I really am hungry. Well, if you're not the winner, what are you? If you're not the winner, what are you? You are a contender. No, that's not the word, is it? You are a. Is it? You. Someone who took part. See, it makes me laugh. This really does make me laugh. So the Olympics are on now. I don't want to get into the what's the name of it, but those people that train and do all those things, and the person that comes in last, and people say that they're a loser and they lost. They are so much better than about 8 billion other people. Probably even more than that. It's like, how can you call that person a loser? They would probably be 8 billion other people in the world, if not more. And it's like, I think they're losers. They may not have won that race, but you know, 8 billion people could not beat them. So, given the right race, they would all be a winner. And I think that's all it is, isn't it? As long as you have the right race, then you're a winner. So I think we're all winners. It's just which game do you play that you're best at? It doesn't matter if it's Monopoly. It doesn't matter if it's 100 meters. It doesn't matter if it's the thrill of the chase. As long as you're playing a game, that suits you, then you're a winner. So therefore, you're a winner. Runner up. Oh, somebody's second and somebody's runner up. You can't both be runner up. The dead heat. Burrito Supreme, free tacos, and something twist, cinnamon twist with large Coke, $20. Ooh, $20. You drive a hard bargain. I'm a winner in life. I carry a strong woman beside me. There you go. There you go. There's another reason for being a winner. Amy, you got, wonderful kids. So there's another reason to be a winner. Wow, Greg. Something to do with gas tank. Went too quick. Food on way. Nice to see you all. And thank you, Mario. As always, great show, Mario. Great. Thank you very much, sir. It's very nice of you, Greg. I hope you have a wonderful dining experience. Thanks for popping in. What is it they say about tiddlywinks and hand grenades? I have no idea what they say about tiddlywinks and hand grenades. Scrabble, who did that as well. See you later, Greg. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Second place is first place loser. Sorry. Be humble. There's only one. That's what makes it so special. I have to agree with you and disagree at the same time. I don't think anybody won this. I think, Forrest told everyone the answer, and one person, two people, 10 people, doesn't matter who it was or is, they heard what he was saying. I don't know if it makes you a winner or just, good at hearing. Figure out what it is. Hello, Larry. Scrabble champ, can't spell. Yeah, I love Scrabble. Haha, Larry, not many can carry a strong woman. Well, not many can carry a heavy woman, but independence is, okay if you work as a team. So, if both of you are independent, then there's going to be arguments. But if you're both independent and understanding and appreciative of that, then it's all good. It's all good. Jack found treasure. No, Jack found chest. Treasure is different than chest. I guess you have 2.5 meals if you have 50 in your pocket. That depends when you had that 50. If it was 10 years ago or 10 years in the future. Amy, my wife's so strong, sometimes she carries me. I could win at Scrabble. I think, any given time, any one person can win at some point. Broad shoulders. A heavy woman can't be moved. There's something in that. Broad shoulders or strong legs. Played words with friends with late wife and Scrabble. Ooh. Wow, she just whatever that word is. Frightened me. My phone just started speaking. Played word. First time ever. I haven't even asked, I haven't set it up to, speak to me, but she just started speaking then. A strong-willed woman can't be moved. I prayed for the draft and got second. Well, could have been worse. You could have prayed for chess and got second. I have 3 Taurus in my family. 2 are bull-headed. 1 is a saint. Ding, 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 ding. Time beats all. Yes. That's the one thing we know. Father Time is definitely in charge. So Father Time and Mother Nature, who do you think would win? Zozo, finally a competitor worth the effort. Me, Hanoi's going to win. Time always, yeah, time's always going to win. Yep, poor Mother Nature. Keeps trying, but time, everything decays in time. Everything. Time just makes it wither away. There's always rebirth, but time ravages everything. I wonder why Forrest threw it in the bin and then got it back. That was interesting. So, I hope nobody's gone live, otherwise I'm going to feel guilty again. Oh, it's all 222. It was 2:22 and 2 seconds when I just looked at that. That was weird. I forgot. So, this was about, I don't mind being wrong. I really don't mind being wrong. I don't like being wrong, obviously, because I try to be right if I can, or correct. But please stop saying, silly things in regards to me, being incorrect, because my statements are from Forrest Fenn. And that statement of the answers are in the poem, it's a true statement. They have to be in the poem. They have to be. There isn't a choice. They can't, well, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. They have to be in there. If all you need is the poem and you have nothing else, first day, Thrill of the Chase book comes out, you have the poem to solve, that's all you have. Everything has to be in that poem right there. Or, at best, at the very best you can have, there has to be some confirmation in the book. Now, we know from Forrest that the hints won't take you there. They won't help you, other than with the clues in the poem. But they won't give you the chest. They won't give you the treasure. So, whatever Forrest said. So, on the first day, everything you need is in that Thrill of the Chase book. Everything. There is nothing else that you need. Therefore, if the hints will help you with the clues in the poem, only the poem can give you the answer, because the book won't give you the answer. It will only help you with the clues. So, depending on what it is that Forrest is talking about, will depend on how you interpret the information in regard to that. The book, the poem, and everything. It depends what Forrest is talking about. But if you're going to find a chest, and claim that you are the solver, you had best get the answers from the poem. Because there is no way in this reality or any other reality, given the rules that Forrest Fenn gave us, that you can find the answer anywhere other than in the poem. The poem must tell you the answer. It has to confirm the answer. It has to. It's all you have. In 2010, on the first day, you should have been able to solve the Forrest Fenn Thrill of the Chase with that book and the poem inside it, and nothing else. Not one interview, not one scrapbook. What else is mentioned? Not an interview, not a scrapbook. Not the books that came after. None of that. Even though they could help you. So, I'm not saying they can't help you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you didn't have them. You did not have them. So therefore, the answer must be in the poem. It must be. There is no other place that Forrest could have put it. Had to give you the answer in the poem on the first day that book came out. Everything that was needed to find the chest had to be there. Had to be there. So researching everywhere else is pointless. Wherever else you search, guess what? There is no confirmer. None. Only what your mind is telling you is the answer. But there is no confirmer. There's nothing to confirm that your warm waters hole or your no place for the meek or your heavy loads of water eye is correct. Nothing. Only what you relate to the poem and the Thrill of the Chase book. So it has to be the poem. What about the Hangman? Oh, the game Hangman. We did that as well. Did I do that song? Rings a bell. Be the Fool. No, was it the... I can't remember now. If I did that along with the Hanging Tree, where... O'Keefe? What's her name? Sorry if I'm insulting her. I don't mean to insult her, but I can't remember her first name just offhand. O'Keefe, the artist, and the tree there, so the Hanging Tree. Read book. Was it Gloria? I can't remember now. No way, Zozo. Hella. Ooh, but almost Hera. Worthy, Nikki. Nah, open-minded. Okay, opponent. I sacrificed an eye. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. All of those weird statements from the Bible that, contradict. A bit like the chase. Yes way, Amy. You don't know what is coming towards you anyhow. You already do. But just not aware you are. Yeah, I'm pondering that as well. I don't know what that means. You don't know what is coming towards you anyhow. You already do. But just not aware you are. Yes, there is. Having a chest in your hands will confirm you have the correct warm waters. Outside of the poem, having a chest in your hands will confirm that you have the right warm waters. That's correct. But how do you get that answer? You have to have that answer. You can't just walk to the place off the cuff and have the chest in your hands. You have to have that answer before you can get that chest in your hands. So I agree, yeah. If you've got the chest in your hands, that will be the right answer. But where did you get that answer from? Georgia. Yeah, Georgia O'Keefe. Did I say Georgia? Thanks, Mama Q. And that's in the news now anyway. That's where they're doing the rallies, isn't it? Georgia. Or did them, or whatever. And Arizona. Flying rowan tree. Do you want peace? As though asking me, I say Thor. You'd be surprised. Loose lips sink ships. Yes, somebody wants peace. I don't know. Half of these questions, I don't know if they're aimed at me or... My ship is sailing high. I have B. Don't know. Jekyll Island. Don't know. Must be hiding. Jekyll and Hyde. Sorry. Mama Q. I'm a helper, not an enemy. Those who think that clearly but don't want peace. I'm a helper, not an enemy. Those who think that clearly don't want peace. Well, I don't know. Like, nobody's an enemy to me. I don't, you know, I was never fighting Forrest, which is, what some people do. And I'm thinking, he's the teacher. Why are you fighting the teacher? He's trying to tell you, what it is you need to know. Well, why are you trying to beat Forrest? It's like, that's crazy. And I was never trying to beat anybody else because I wasn't really. Once I found how stupid I was and greedy, and it was just about trying to solve the poem and not trying to be rich anymore. Even though that's what I wanted in the first place, and I wouldn't mind being rich. I really wouldn't mind it, but at the end of the day, as I've said, if Forrest wanted to take it with him, he could take it with him. Nobody knows what the answer is. Forrest can do what he wants. I'm a helper. I don't know. They called him the Prince of Peace. I want peace. Oh, I didn't know that either. Talk about Forrest was the Prince of Peace. I wonder who wanted the throne. I thought he was the king of something. I hear tell there were some interesting parties up at Georgia Oakey's place. I hear that too. Interesting woman. Speak like a serpent, act like a dove. Would that make a good song? I speak clearly. Speak the truth and watch the liars be exposed. Well, my dad used to say, if you tell lies, you find out the truth. So speak a lie and find the truth. If Stoof handed a chest to me and I had it in my arms, I still wouldn't have all the answers. No, and that's the issue. Well, not the issue. What is the truth, says it? So before, I could tell you where the chest was and why, the why the clues in the poem led you to that place. But that's not what the chase was about. So you still wouldn't know. You wouldn't know the importance of what Forrest did. You wouldn't know why everyone was going to be a winner. You wouldn't know why he could affect the future. And that's another thing. People tell me the solves and say who they think Forrest is and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, have you heard a single word he said? Who says I can't affect the future? And you say Forrest is this person. This person couldn't affect the future if they had 300 years. If they had 1,000 years, they couldn't affect the future. So the person you're looking for to be Forrest Fenn is not these, they may be of importance or they may be well known or whatever, but they're not going to affect nothing. So that needs to play into whatever it is that you found out about the chase. Woody Stoof didn't hand to Justin. Justin had to go through the family. Stoof didn't hand to Justin. Justin had to go through the family. Or, but we don't want to go down that road, but it's like that. Has nothing to do with anything. All religions are false. No person human has ever been to a dimension of space and time to find a godlike being for others to believe. And yet there is, dun, 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 don't miss next week's exciting episode of Zozo on the Rocks, and all gods will be rebranded as mythological studies. Is as is does. Is as is does. That is what faith is. Faith. Uh-oh, I'm live. Oh no, I'm live. Thanks, YouTube, for telling me I'm live. I don't know why Zozo's laughing. I can't remember what I said. Or what he said, and I just said what he said, and then he laughed. Me personally, and it's not, we're not going back to the Middle Ages now when, all the information was lost and anybody can believe whatever they want. But I thought we lived in an age where you can believe what you want. Some people taking it too far, but you know, hey, Mr. Geoduck, how you doing? Faith can be a valuable tool. Exactly, of course it can. And that's what I was trying to get at now. You should be able to believe what you want to believe in, and you should be able to have faith in something because sometimes that's all that gets you through. And you should not be knocked for having faith in something. Faith in another dimension of space and time, stay on this planet to help achieve peace. Hey Mel, Sophia, Amy Green, hi again. I hope you are doing well. Hi again. Even JC had two thieves behind him. Stay tuned, I think that is. Stay tuned until next week. Yes. Most of you wouldn't be here if you didn't have faith in a Maverick. 100%. Well, some people haven't got faith in a Maverick and they're still here, but I think I'm here because people haven't got faith in the Maverick, and I'm not trying to instill faith. I'm not trying to instill that faith into them. I'm trying to point out that they should, choose that. I am watching chat, cannot listen as I am sending a natural edge chessboard I am making. Ooh, chessboard. Be interested in that. So that's another, another solve that potentially could have, ended the chase, and yet just totally ignored. It's crazy. Man-made stories claim many fallacies. I like chess too. Post a video when you're done, Davey B. And man still pays federal taxes. Why don't people believe and have faith in Ra, Odin, Zeus, Vision, etc.? Again, it's just personal. It's like, why do people have all different souls? That's who they are, and that's who they should want to be, and be let be. I'd rather not say anything about somebody's faith or politics, let them believe what they want to believe, and be happy in that, than try to prove them wrong, because I don't feel that upsetting somebody. Just nah, I don't see it. Who says they don't? Will do, Nikki. Good morning to all. Hope all is well. It is morning. It's 10 to 2. Not too far to walk. Are you doing the pieces as well, or just the board? Is it one of them big boards? Like on a desk or something? Put something underneath. When I was doing the chess solve and looking up like chess, because I wasn't the best chess player, Dave will tell you that. Some of the pieces and the boards, like, wow. I'm just used to those plastic ones that you get and play with. When I saw what was possible, and the fantasy chess boards and Star Wars type thing. I don't know if it was Star Wars, but you can get themed chess pieces and stuff. Like, wow, didn't know. Again, it's because somebody named Zozo argues the point, and it's like, well, you don't need to argue. Just let people be, let them believe what they want, and then if you just let people believe what they want, there'll be no division. Sound like politics. Let them believe what they want. It's not up to you to decide whether they should be liberal or Democrat or whatever it is. It's up to them to decide. And if you don't like it, it's tough. If you don't agree with it, tough. You just accept it. The divisions are only caused because people want them to believe what they believe. It's not necessary. Not necessary at all. You don't have to convince someone. But like the chase, you don't have to convince someone of your soul. You just have to know that you have a soul and they have a soul, and that's it. And then talk about the things that Forrest said, the things that Forrest did, what you did in the thrill of the chase, how the exciting times that you had, the rough times that you had. Just talk it through. I don't believe anything. I put, hearts in the way. I put IT in percentages. I put it in percentages. I'm a bit like that. It's like, is it possible? Say again, same as a chase. What if? What if? What if this happened? What if that happened? Is it possible that this happened? Is it not possible that this happened? In most cases, the information that you have from any of the religions is either embellished or, wrong. I've said before, everyone agrees that there was a flood, so there must have been a flood, and each has a god or more than one god that was responsible or has knowledge of what happened, or these leaders, or whatever it is that you call them. So therefore, that must have happened. So therefore, it must have been created. Because if the whole earth was flooded, we didn't carry on from just those few people left. Just, it's not possible. Faith and praise and worship and belief are vast differences in personal traits. And people do all those things without researching the facts are presented. That's because they don't want to know the facts. That's exactly what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. They just want to have faith and just want to believe in something that gets them through every day. That's it. It gets them through every day. And then they will argue because they don't want to believe what you say, which is very similar to liberals who believed that Joe Biden was capable of running your country. No way. Never in a million years. Never, ever, ever. And it's been proven. It's been proven that he wasn't able to do it. Why it's taken 3 years, nearly 4 years, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea why it's taken 4 years for people to realise that that man who was your president wasn't capable of doing the job. How he got the job in the first place, I don't know. How he won, no, I'm stunned. And it's not about, I don't mind, I'm not about the policies. I don't know what the policies are. Just that granddad that should have been in a retirement home. What? Running the greatest country in the world? What? Out of the many millions that you had, he was the best and people voted for him? No chance. No way. No way ever. No way. He did not get more people voting for him than Donald Trump. As bad as Donald Trump is, no. No. I wouldn't have trusted him to go to the shop and buy me something and come back with the right stuff. Nope. And you trust him with your nuclear weapons and everything else. It's like crazy. Crazy, crazy. Grassroots movement hijacked by the state. Ooh, that's a bit strong. If you believe these differences divide, then there is a fallacy that everyone must believe the same thing in order to have peace. Well, whilst I'd like to agree with that, if you believe the Bible, even though these people saw these miracles, they still turned from God. And that says everything about us as the human race, and saying that again, it's exactly what the Bible says, that people will turn against Jesus, they will turn against God, and we'll be in this mess that we're in now, and it will get worse, and then Jesus will come back. So those people that are turning against God and publicly crying, crying out that he doesn't exist and this is whatever, are just proving the prophecy. Was it a prophecy? They're just proving it. And that's crazy. That's like the worst thing you can do, to prove something you say is false. You're proving that the Bible is correct. The world will turn against Jesus and God and bring about, a change in circumstances. Devil, locked away for 1,000 years, whatever. All those things that happen. So I will change that lie. 303. No, sorry, 0.303%. Nobody voted. Laugh out loud. Globalist puppets and Trump too. Yeah, and that's another thing. In a country where the democratic and the vote, and you've got to do this for the people, etc. They managed to put this woman in charge who didn't get one single vote. This is crazy. They were talking about Trump being a dictator, but now this person's become in charge without anybody voting for her. No one, not one person, decided that she should be president of their country. Not one person, apart from the globalists or, her. It's like, you can't do that. Surely you can't do that. And people are letting it happen. It's like, what? No, she hasn't been voted in. You can't just say, oh, well, she'll be president. Get it? No. I'm not doing it anymore, he says. Shouldn't have done it in the first place. Jump Road, the Lolita Express. I don't believe Jesus was Caesarean. The Bible is invalid. Too many scribble errors. Well, the Bible itself, but if you look at the predictions, them are all good. There's not one that's wrong. So, and up to now, people turning against Christ, that isn't wrong either. So you have to wait. If there is your path, so be it. Yes. The Bible is man-made. Men predicting what men will do has been going on. Yeah, but it hasn't been wrong, is what I'm saying. It's not wrong. So what you're saying, what you're doing, was predicted in the Bible, which brings about a certain, new age or whatever you want to call it. Evening star, morning star, I forget. Pray in closet. So be it. So be it. Yes, it is. Just sit back and watch. They will be the past 10 plus years of putting the facts out there. Oh, they are noticed. They're all wrong. Please stop promoting men over any god. No one's promoting anyone. Just saying. That'd be like saying, I went to the bookies and the bloke doing the bookies said, these 7 races, these 7 horses are going to win. And the person was correct. 7 races, 7 horses won. So you'd have to assume that in the 8th race, the 8th horse is going to win. So you'd be foolish not to listen. It's a cycle in every religion. All those people that voted for Biden like cake. I don't believe there were that many people that voted for him. It's just like you can see the Kamala rallies, and they paid people to go there, and they had, a free, like, Live Aid concert for people to go to. So they paid homeless people to go and watch, and people went to watch, whatever her name is, bloke's name. She looks like a bloke. Whatever her name is. and his name Quavo. It's like they went to see them, not her, because when the music finished and everything, and she started talking, everybody started leaving. So we'll give you some food and pay you some money, you homeless people, if you come to attend this rally. You don't go from a few hundred people to thousands. No, it don't happen. It don't happen. You might do incrementally. You, you go and there's 600 people at your first rally. You go to another one, there's 1,000. You go to your next one, there's 1,500, whatever. But who uses men? Everyone. All these people, all those people that voted. What, those dead people? Just crazy. Yeah, dead people voted. Yeah, it's okay. Lots of votes for Trump just thrown in garbage bins and stuff. Like mail-in ballots now. You've got 20 million that are probably coming across the border now that will probably vote. I don't know. Non-residents, is it? Non-residents can vote. Again, though, Zozo, I'm talking facts. I'm saying the Bible has predicted these things. It doesn't matter whether it was a bloke that wrote it or a God that wrote it. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is if it's a horse race and this person is saying, out of the 7 races so far, this is going to happen, and it happens, and this horse wins, then I'm going to listen to that person because I know in the next race that horse is going to win. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter whether it's a God or it's a person. What matters is it's been correct. So I think I'd listen, whether it's a God, whether it's a man, doesn't matter. I think I'd listen if someone's 100% in everything that said was going to happen has happened. So if they tell me, don't go outside in the 3 days of darkness, and there happens to be the first day of darkness, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay inside. I'd be foolish not to. It doesn't matter whether it's a God or a person. What matters is it's been right. So I'm not trying to promote the Bible. I'm trying to say, listen, it's been right. It doesn't matter whether it's God or not. It matters that it's been right. You'd be crazy not to believe it. And come along and say that treat your neighbours as you would want to be treated, not as we deserve, but as we want to be treated. Ooh, if only. Trump is buddies with Clinton. Well, I heard J.D. Vance, is it? What his name is? Give a speech, and he's not as charismatic as Donald Trump. And, I can't say that I like Donald Trump. I think, you know, I, I would get on with Donald Trump, but he can say some straightforward things. That don't make him a bad person. It just makes him honest. And I'd rather have an honest person in charge than some bullshit. He probably says things that people don't like, but it's just being honest. It's just saying it how it is, and some people don't like it how it is. But he really is just saying it how it is. It is a fact that it is invalid. No, Nikki, we use ourselves, always has, not a god. Accept it. Plato's cave, and some people think it's real. The globalist actors' puppets. And that's where the world is now. Those people with the power will want to keep the power and will want to subdue, and get, financial reward from, us lesser mortals. So yeah, the slaves to money, and they know it, and nothing we can do about it. Or, is there? No God has been involved in my life ever. I've sought it out. I found nothing. All the world's a stage, and each must play a part. Fate had me playing in love with you as my sweetheart. He signed that $1 trillion check. I don't care what Puppet Jump says. Are you on about Mr. Burns now? Did he have a $1 trillion check? Mr. Burns? I'm sure it was. Or $1 trillion note, was it? $1 trillion note. Something like that. They've been pretty good with predictions. I could turn around and say that Homer's a god or a prophet. They predicted Trump. They predict that Melania, whatever her name is going to be president. Lisa Simpson won't be president, but she was predicted as president, the first female president. Military industrial complex. Too many big words. Mother of all bombs. That reminds me of Forrest saying he always knew Philip Chase was a bomb, and Dorothy Massey lit the fuse. How is that possible? Just think about it. How is that possible? How is it possible that Dorothy Massey lit the fuse to the thrill of the chase? Was he stating a future event? Does Dorothy Massey light the fuse at the end of the thrill of the chase? If you think about it, and I'm not being disrespectful, selling the book from her store, how is that lighting the fuse? So something else must have been done. Or something is going to be done. If there's a promise of new discoveries, what is the potential for that? Seriously, if there is a promise of new discoveries, what is the potential? Remember, you had $1 million chest as a lure. $1 million as a lure. And the lure is not, would you say a lure was probably worth 10% of the real thing? So you're drawn in by something smaller than what is actually, on offer. So if the promise of new discoveries is anything, what's the potential for it? Daisy cut. I'm still trying to work out what those things are that Forrest was talking about in the video to Dale when he was letting them little things off through the jet. I thought they were cluster bombs, but I don't know if they are. Got to go. Much love to you too, Miss or Mr. or Mrs. or Madam or she, he, whatever. I don't know. So thank you, Hanoi, for partaking in the chat and giving us some. Mother Fenn. Oh, Mother Fenn. Thank you, Mother Fenn. So I enjoy doing these. I enjoy talking to people in another country through the technology that we have, and I enjoy listening to what people have to say. I can't say that I enjoy being told that I'm wrong, but I would accept I'm wrong if I'm wrong, and I'll apologise, for being wrong. But my statement that the answers must be in the poem stands. I don't apologise for it. I don't concede that it could possibly be anything other than what I've stated based on the information that Forrest gave us, based on the fact that in 2010 it was all we had and all we needed. So those answers must be in the poem. They must be. There is no reason to think anything other than that. And there is no reason to search outside of it. None. Certainly not, 50 million comic books. No. Certainly not, 9 different locations. No. It's impossible for there to be more. I said before, more than 50% there means that at the most there can be four different locations at the very most, if you're more than 50% there, metaphorically speaking, or halfway there. If you solve the first 2 clues, it's academic. Little girl from India. Those things say there couldn't, there's no way. Not, what if, maybe, could be. No way in any alternate reality, given the rules that we were given by Forrest, that there could be more than those 4. But if you're told the home of Brown, you can go right to it, you'd have to say there can't be more than 2, depending on where your home of Brown is. If your home of Brown is the 3rd clue, then you lose the fact of the little girl from India can't get closer than the first 2. Or solve the first 2 clues, walk right by the chest. You have to put all those things together. Seriously, I'm not. And me, I just think this is simple. So those people that are arguing that they are the solver, that they found the chest, that they did this, that, and the other, and I'm thinking, no, you can't be real searchers, because that is nothing like what Forrest Fenn said. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you say there's 9 locations and Forrest says 2 clues, no, no, there is no way. 2 clues, and if I told you the home of Brown, you go right to it. If you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the blaze? What? But the blaze is supposedly the 9th clue. For most people, the blaze is the 9th clue. Why are you worried about the 9th clue, which is supposedly the last clue, which is supposedly the clue that would have the chest? And you don't have to worry about it. Well, there's a reason for that. So, me personally, you can believe what you want, which is what I've said all along, and you don't have to believe me, which is what I've said all along. But you do have to have faith in Forrest, because he set this up for everybody to be a winner. And one would, deduce that he set it up for him to be a winner as well, because he had his own thrill of the chase and his own adventure, and he wanted us to share in that adventure. Some people didn't. Well, most people didn't, because they just, Nobody can think my thoughts is a statement to 9 billion people, however many there are in the world, kids included. Nobody can think my thoughts. So any solve that didn't come from the poem, as a solve, as an answer, is wrong. It has to be. Because it's your thought. You thought of it. Forrest didn't think of it. You did. If Forrest thought of it, the answer would be in the poem, and you'd have got the answer from the poem. To me, that's just simple state of fact. It's a simple state of fact. If you cannot think Forrest's thoughts, which is what he said, then anything you think is not what Forrest thought. So therefore, the answer has to come from the poem. Has to. And you're not thinking his thought then. You're being told by him what the answer is. So I just find it hard to believe that those people that claim that they're solvers are real searchers and solvers, based on everything that Forrest Fenn said. And I'm not trying to be awkward or horrible or trying to be clever. Just saying, here's a fact that Forrest said, and it bears no resemblance to what you're saying is the soul. And bearing in mind, I'm talking about the chest. You found a chest. I will give you that you found a chest. Everyone was supposed to find a chest. I know people will argue with that, but based on the way that people think, there are so many ways to find a chest out of that poem. So everyone is going to find a chest, whether it be a simple solution or a 50 million cipher solution, whatever it is. Somebody's supposed to find a chest based on the intelligence that they have, and they will be happy finding that chest that they found. And that will be the only way to find a chest, the way that they thought of it. So however Forrest thought of that, I don't know, but that's what happened. Everyone was going to find a chest based on the way that they think. And everybody did, until they got there. Then, one of two things happened. Somebody beat them, or it's a hoax. And this is from Forrest, not me. I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to make you believe me. I'm telling you what Forrest said. One of two things happened. Somebody beat them, or it's a hoax. So he knew that people were going to find a chest, and he knew that these would be the conclusions. And it didn't bother him. So he knew nobody was going to find the real chest. With the statements that he made, in my opinion, he was saying, nope, not that. Excuse me now, the fact that he said the chest is wet, if you had a soul that didn't tally with that, you should have changed your soul. Should have had another turn. Not try to say that Forrest is a liar or it's all fraud or fake or blah, blah, blah. He's trying to give the information that says, nope, that's wrong, have another go. Nope, that's wrong, have another go. No, that's wrong, have another go. So have another go. Don't get all arsey and start moaning about it. If Forrest has told you, and I'm saying if, I know he has, but if Forrest has told you nothing is as it seems, believe him. Nothing is as it seems. Don't get arsey about it. Don't try and prove that Forrest is wrong. Believe that Forrest is correct. And change the way that you think. That's how simple it is. You are not in your world when you're in the chase. You're in Forrest Fenn's world. So therefore, you have to apply the information that Forrest has given as a map to the world that you're in now. And the information that's given is telling you, don't believe everything you see and hear, because nothing is as it seems. And words don't mean what you think they do. So you can't go through the chase as though everything is real. You can't. There's no lies. It's not a lie. It's part of an understanding of the poem. Here is the poem with the information you need to help you understand the chase. Bearing in mind that nothing is as it seems and words don't mean what you think they do, try not to get confused. Think nice thoughts. Try not to be nasty. Think nice thoughts. Try not to say that I'm a fraud or that I'm a liar or that I'm this and that and the other. Don't have a go at Shiloh or anyone else. Think nice thoughts. Things are not as they seem, and words don't mean what you think they do. It's tantamount to saying, here's a play, or a film, or whatever you want to call it. But here is something that we're showing you that isn't real. Try to work out what's really being said, what's really being done, what's really being shown you. Try to work that out. Now, Forrest said you're supposed to have fun. Not you're supposed to have fun. It was created for people to have fun. People should be having fun. So, how in anyone's world does fighting and arguing about your soul relate to what Forrest was talking about? The simple solution is to try to work out, if nothing is as it seems, and if words don't mean what you think they do, what could they mean? What could they mean? What could all this be about? If it's not real, what is it about? And people argue, and I'm thinking, why are you arguing? If you don't know the answers, how can you? It's like, somebody saying that I'm wrong. It's like, well, how do you know I'm wrong? Does that mean that you're right? I'm saying that what am I saying? I'm saying I'm using the information that Forrest Fenn has given out, and that information can only be deduced in one way. You only need the poem. That information that's been given out, you only need the poem. It's saying the answers are in the poem. It can only be deduced one way. You can't deduce it any other way. There's no other way of taking that statement. Along with the fact that it was out in 2010 and you could solve it in 2010 using anything that you had. All you had was the book, and the poem was in the book. So therefore, everything else that you brought to the thrill of the chase is not necessary, because Forrest gave you what you needed in 2010 when the book came out. So to say, well, it has to be this because it's in the book, and it has to be this because of this, and it has to be this because of that, and I researched 50,000 different comics, so it has to be this, and I, solved this cipher, and it has to be this, and I blah, 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 and it has to be this. No, that has no relevance to what Forrest Fenn said and did in 2010. None at all. So how can it be any of those things? Can't. So that's what I'm saying. If you believe in Forrest, if you believe in Major Forrest Burke Fenn, then you would have no hesitation in looking at your solve and deciding whether you can actually be the solver. And I don't care who the solver is. It makes no difference to me. I do not care who the solver is. I care that Forrest Fenn made it happen. That's what I care about. That is all that I care about. If you ask Davey B, he'll tell you. All I care about is that Forrest makes it happen. And whether Forrest makes it happen and takes it with him, that's up to Forrest. Or whether Forrest makes it happen and he tells the whole world what it was that he did, that's up to Forrest. So either everyone will know exactly who Forrest Fenn is and what he did, or they won't. They won't. Because I'm not going to say, I'm not going to tell anybody to solve. I'm not going to straight out say to you, this is what it was. This is who Forrest Fenn is. This is what the solve is to the treasure. And I think by now, and I can't believe that people haven't, the solve for a chest, I don't get it. I don't get it. Which is why, I don't believe that people are real searchers. Just don't get it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because it's 2:23, not 4:23. 2:23, Ben, if you're still here. I hope nobody's live, otherwise I'm going to be back. So thank you. Oh, Nikki retracted. So no, I am not an opponent. I am your ally. Yes. Ally? I thought ally was an I. You Americans can't spell English. Your ally. Peace will be the result. Who wants to argue over nothing? I sure think that time can be used to develop peaceful ways. Yes, I think, well, there's two ways to get peace, isn't there? There's people getting around a table and talking, cleverly, or, killing everyone. I don't think I like the second one. Not at all. So, my statements are merely what Forrest Fenn said and the understanding of what that can be interpreted as, not an assumption. This is all it can be. there was only ever going to be one spot. That's all it can be. If I told you the home of Brown, you go right to it. That's all it can be. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes, or well, I think it's this, or I think it's that. That's it. That's your answer. There it is. That's all it can be. If you know the home of Brown, why are you worried about the blaze? That's all it can be. And that's not me. I'm not deducing it. I'm not saying it. I'm not thinking it. I'm telling you, Forrest said this. This is what it means. This is all it can mean. It can't mean anything else. It has to mean this. So, and you can believe I'm wrong, and I don't mind being wrong. You can believe I'm wrong. You can tell me that I'm wrong. But when you're saying that, you're saying Forrest Fenn is a liar. But I don't think so. So I don't think I'm wrong. I know I'm not wrong in the sense that Forrest said all you need is a poem. That's a fact. That's not me making it up. That's a fact. All you need is a poem. And that means that in 2010, when the book came out, you only needed the Fuller Chase book. Anything else is irrelevant. But the fact that Forrest said all you need is the poem means take away the Fuller Chase book, all you have is a poem, means the answers must be in the poem. Must be. So any answer that was found from outside of the poem has to be incorrect. And if you can't 100% nail down, has to be nailed down, begin it where warm waters halt. If you can't do that, you don't even start. You don't start the Full of the Chase, not the Forrest Fenn Full of the Chase. So not lying, not making things up, not, don't have an agenda, don't want to claim to be the solver, just here's some information that I got from Forrest Fenn using the poem, and this is what it could or has to mean. So thank you. Thanks, Steve. It has been a pleasure. See y'all. Yeah, I don't normally do streams one after the other, but I just wanted to get to the bottom of that statement. Now, remember I said that the poem is in the poem, along with Davy B, that Ode to Peggy Jean is in the poem. But the poem itself is in the poem. The Babbling Brook poem is in the poem. So there's more than one poem in the poem. But again, it's how do you find that information? It's the same way as, we've been talking about. But again, it's just information. It's not, linked to the chest. The chest solve, for those people that don't want to hear me, I've said it hundreds of times just before I go. The chest solve is the poem that's in the front of the Chase book, read with a little bit of imagination. Understanding that Forrest said he looked up all the words in that poem, especially the nouns. You don't need all of the words, but it's risky to ignore any of them. So that's how you solve the chest answer. And the poem has to give you that answer. And as somebody asked, no, it's not. It's not written down. Excuse me, which is what Forrest said. Didn't write it down anyway. So, ciao for now. Thanks, Zozo. Appreciate you. Well, all of you. See you, David B. Probably chat tomorrow if you're available, or today. The answers are in the poem. They have to be. If you didn't get your answer from the poem, it can't be right. It can't be. That's how I see it. And I could be wrong. And I'm willing, ready, able to be prepared to be proven wrong and accept that, I'm wrong. Don't mind being wrong. But I'll tell you now, I know that Forrest is right and he will make it happen, or has made it happen, and that's all it is. It is an early spring morning here. Beautiful. Wow, that went from cold to warm really quick. Ciao for now. Take care, everyone.